This is a Harper Guys production.
The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
You know, but good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the ape?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Are you hating on Neil Diamond?
Holy fuck! Fuck Neil Diamond!
Our dream of deathmatch is going to come to fruition, and my golden ticket is going to pay off. Hoo-ah! Don't you fucking hoo-ah me, motherfucker!
I want the ability to time travel.
Dumb. This is stupid. Welcome to the Hopper, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake. With me, as always, my sidekick co-host, Adam.
That's right.
Man, wonky to start.
That's
no
right.
surprises. No surprises. Gotta
What's
shake the rust.
Up,
Dude,
my homie.
been too long.
Woo.
It's not that we haven't seen each other since we recorded. It's just that we haven't recorded.
Man,
Been a lot going on in the world, baby.
It's been a little bit.
Telling you.
I'm a little bit pumped up. I'm
Yeah.
almost at a loss for words.
Yeah?
Ready to fucking go, though.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. Some good topics. We got a lot of shit to cover. Stuff that's
Too
been
much.
going on in our lives.
Too much.
You know what I mean?
I've got 3 shows worth of shit to do, and, you know, it's what? 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag?
We're going to cram it in, baby.
But-
We're going to cram it in tonight.
But we aren't going to, you know, waste all the gold on one fucking session here. We're going
That's
to
right.
fucking save some for next time.
That's right. Got a little in the coffer.
That's right. So, do you have anything you want to tell the people? The Hateful Eight. You have anything like you just want to tell them?
I don't have anything queued up. I mean, hopefully you guys are still listening. Maybe when you see this, it'll be kind of, hey, holy shit, I thought these guys were gone, but we're like a boomerang, baby. We just keep on coming back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I did check either last night or the night before, and just so the Hateful Eight actually understand what we look at when we look at statistics and whatnot for these shows. The Harper gets decent. I mean, it's not crazy, right? It's not like fucking a million views on YouTube, right?
Right.
You called the Hateful Eight for a reason.
Yeah.
So most of the shows get around, 100 to 200 downloads,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
A little bit more than maybe we got the Hateful 88.
Right.
But anyways, so the last episode, it's been a little bit. I didn't look at the date. It's been months though.
Yeah.
But it's up to like almost 400 downloads.
Hey, man, I think maybe America's coming back to a little more common sense.
So I don't
they see
know-
that there's a common sense podcast out there. They're like, hey, this is our vein right now. I mean, I think that we're considered OG podcasters.
It's a
Like,
common sense podcast, and I'm going to tell you what. When I'm like categorizing it on the fucking websites, there's no common sense option. There
No.
may be now.
No, but what I'm saying is like
5 years later, there's one now.
But is it 5 or is it 6 years now?
Whatever, 18, I think, right?
Right. So like we're actually coming into
7.
spring this year will be year 7.
September.
with a few breaks in there, but I think that we went through a period of time in this country and with some of the listening base
Well,
that really wasn't here for the
The
truth.
purists are like, well, you haven't done 7 years straight, fuckers. You take too much time off,
Hey,
but we're still here.
everybody takes a sabbatical every fucking now and again from something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, I don't know where I was going. Oh, so yeah, the statistics are good on the last show. So I was wondering if they were just like, we either missed them, so they're just replaying the last one,
Right.
not realizing there's 119 other episodes to listen to.
Yeah.
And, it's like a fine wine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They just keep getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's some great shows. We did some different style shows in the past. Just to kind of do a little recap, we did like top 10, top 100s. We did a bunch of stuff like those. I mean,
A bunch of shit we could argue about back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Give each other opinions. That's where a lot of the sound bites from the intro comes in.
Back when we started the show, Jake did not want to have a what is it? The recent topics. What is that?
Like a current event?
Current events. You didn't want a current event show, but that's what it's kind of turned into.
In some ways it has.
A little bit. I mean, we do talk about other things.
Yeah, we talk about some of the old school things, classic debates that fellas like to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely turned into, we talk more about what's going on now a little
Which-
bit in our lives and in the world. Like we kind of keep it a 2-lane street here.
And if you are like me and don't have your ear to the ground for, some of the politics because you just don't want to listen to it, Jake we always get an update whenever we need one, whenever I want one, because sometimes I do want one.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Because
always.
Sometimes
Doesn't slow down.
you need to know what the fuck is going on, or at least have a good perspective of it.
Exactly.
Because if you've been storing your canned goods and your water and like, hey, dumb shit, shit's going down, you might want to fucking head to the basement.
Right? Sometimes shit gets a little crazy.
You need to know that. All right, let's just fucking dive right in.
Let's do it.
Oh, you know what? We fucked up.
Because you didn't do the PSA.
I didn't do the PSA. There's not a better time than right now. Let's fucking go.
Hey, for those of you that don't know this, I'll let you know that Adam is kind of the executive producer of this show. He gives the topics. I do a quick once over. I don't know. For those of you that don't know me yet, I will talk off the cuff on just about any topic for as long as Adam would like to let me. There's been a few shows where I've been a little tired, I'll admit, to where like some conversations have come and gone, but I kind of let Adam rule the roost on kind of the direction that we're going. So I wasn't going to correct you on the PSA, but we might have some new listeners that find this today.
You forgot, because normally you say,
I didn't forget
PSA.
shit. I looked right at it, and you said let's go, and I wasn't going to stop you.
Yeah. Well, that's our first argument of the year, 2025. Welcome, by the way.
Right.
Usually it's a January 13th, but today it's what are we?
We made it in February.
February. Here we go. Welcome to the #1 Common Sense podcast in the world. Let's get ready to mumble. Episode 112. Please visit us at theharperguys.com, where you can find our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube links that we do not keep up. You can also listen to us anywhere podcasts are found. Ideas, complaints, or just feel like saying what's up, email us at theharperguys@gmail.com. That is a weird thing to say. Email us at
Email us.
I'm just gonna make it one word.
Email us.
Email us at.
You know what I always think of when I hear the PSA?
What?
It's
Fred
almost
Martin?
No, it's
Our
almost
guys?
It confirms to people that are listening though that like we definitely grew up with like 90s radio.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's a little bit 90s radio.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like the Fred Martin car guys. I kind of want to do the we know cars.
If you're from Ohio and anywhere, like you probably know who those guys are.
I want to point at the camera and say, we kind of know podcasts.
Right? Hey man, we're OGs. I don't care what anybody says. A million podcasts have come and gone. We were in the beginning. You know, we were not far in.
Not quite the beginning. We were kind of in the, hey, that's pretty cool. It's been going on for a couple years. We should probably do it. Probably more than a couple years.
We were earlier than most people though.
But I do remember when we first started, that we were like, well, we need to get on social media, let people know. Because honestly, when you are first starting, you kind of have to.
You got to let some folks know what's up.
Even to get some traction. Now, we don't have a lot, but we have some. But to get that some, you have to get out there. Otherwise, who's going to even know you're even around?
Dude, there's a sound bite in every corner of the world these days.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something to talk about.
So we did that for a little bit. And I mean, we even did one of our #1 podcasts. By statistics, it starts out podcast saturation. That's the first thing. And people, that's a thing. I mean,
oh yeah, there's a lot of it out there.
When we first started, though, it was humongously flooded. I mean, and I'm not sure how it is now. I'm sure it's. I mean, well, now it's all. This is, we did this one time where I asked, why would you even listen to us? We're not going to stop what we're doing, but there's so many celebrity podcasts now.
Yes,
it's like every NFL player, every MLB player,
right?
I mean, like, why would you listen to?
Right.
Us two, but I mean, why not?
Hey man, their whole thing is about promoting their brand.
Right.
Our brand is we're common sense. We talk about shit that we think's funny or insightful along the way. You know what I mean? And if you don't like it, that's fucking fine.
And we're kind of like the college basketball players of old.
Right.
Like, it was so great to watch that sport. I mean, it's still good now, but
Yeah.
it was different back in the 80s and 90s and even prior, when it was just true passion for the game and
Sure.
winning it, trying to win it all. That's what we are. We don't get paid for this shit.
No.
If nothing else, we are paying for this shit.
We are, but it's fun.
Yes.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
All right, now we can dive in.
Okay.
First topic.
First topic. Top 3 dumbest pro sports. And that doesn't include the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Okay.
Even though that was pretty fucking...
Okay.
Ended up being pretty fucking stupid. And that doesn't include the 3 pro sports in Cleveland. They're not the dumbest.
No. Well, one of them is. The other two are doing all
they're
right.
toughest. They can be toughest to watch. But
Yeah.
seriously, though, some of these...
So lead us off. Like, what do you got?
like my number one...
Just
Some of these are sports I love. Like leisure sports that I love, but I can't believe it's pro because it's just absolutely the stupidest thing to watch on TV.
tell me about it.
Cornhole.
But you think that's number one? Like it's a.
I'm not saying it's number one. It's one of my top 3.
But it's a skill game that anybody can learn how to play and become really, really good at. To
Listen,
where
I feel
having
like
pro leagues at it's not crazy.
I feel like I'm a decent cornhole player.
Yeah.
Not pro level by any means.
Yeah.
But watching it, bag or hole after hole after hole. I mean, theoretically, these guys can cornhole every single throw if they want.
Almost.
But then they start doing this strategy thing where they try to block the hole because if they don't do that, it's really even more stupid. I mean, what would you do watching a thing if every shot was a strike in bowling? Would you watch it anymore?
I mean, I don't fucking watch bowling as it stands.
I'm just saying it.
Like,
You
bowling
did
is a
it-
sport that I will play, but I won't. I don't
Oh, come
fucking
on.
watch bowling
when
on
you
TV.
were a kid and it was on TV, you probably sat down and watched it for a little bit.
I watched a little bit like back then because like the options were low.
Right.
Like even if you had cable, it was an extra 30 channels, and the odds of there being something on that you wanted to watch as a 12-year-old in the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday, not strong if there's not football season on.
Right, but
so
still.
like to throw bowling on, like it was a hell of a lot better than golf back then. As a kid, fucking golf was hard, man. That was a rough game to watch.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't know. I just feel like
So why is it stupid though? Because it's a leisure sport?
no, because it's just once they get so good, it's dumb to watch. Why even compete if every bag is a cornhole?
Okay, so let me ask a question in a different way. So is it because the intricacies of it really aren't that deep? It's like if you can master basically 1 or 2 shots.
No, what I'm saying is if each of these guys are so good because this is what they've dedicated their time to,
Yeah.
that they can literally sink a bag every shot, and that's kind of how it goes.
Do you feel the same way about any of the other like leisure sports like darts or bowling
Yes,
and
darts
stuff like that?
is on here.
Like
Have you
that-
watched a darts, like a pro darts competition?
Dude, those guys are legit
They can literally throw 360s,
into that triple 20.
360s side by side by side. Like that's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay, these guys are so good. What is the fucking point?
Well, I think that's the point. Is that they're that good.
Now, darts
they
to
can
me is a
thread the needle.
little bit more intricate because you can play other games than just throwing a bag into a hole.
Yeah.
You can play cricket. You can play 301, 501. Okay, there's a little bit more room for error in those, even if you're so precise. I mean, I have watched
Yeah.
some dart competitions, and it does get kind of boring because these guys are just so good. But then every once in a while, somebody will miss.
Yeah.
I guess you could say the same for cornhole. Somebody will eventually not hit it in the hole.
I will say this for them though is inside of those sports you get some quirky people to where I think sometimes it's the personalities more than anything that make them some degree of watchable. I saw a highlight the other day of a dude playing darts and he hit the 3 triples, you know, like the 180 that you hit, and he unzipped the pocket and flicked his nipple and zipped it back up, and like the crowd went crazy for the guy.
So that's
Like-
his thing.
Like that's his thing. Like he hits the triple and he just like he unzipped it, gave it a little flick, and then zipped it back. I was like, what the hell?
Nah, not for me.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't go to those kind of bars.
All right.
You know?
So do you have anything that comes to mind?
So my number one, and this was like, you know how sometimes somebody asks you a question, you got an answer right away, and then you think about it, but then you come back to that answer. Like this, there can't be something stupider than this, right? The answer is speed walking. It's been around for a long time. It's
that a sport?
It's a fucking Olympic event. Have you
Not
ever
a
watched it?
special Olympic event?
No, it is an actual Olympic event, and like there has been like some huge controversies around this sport with people that like they get flagged because they say that they've actually gone from a walk to a jog based on like what their gait is. And dude, it is the most stupid thing you've ever seen in your life. It's just like if you can imagine what it looks like to watch 20 people on a track all acting
Walking
like
fast.
they look like they're trying to get to a McDonald's shitter is what they look like they're trying to do. It like because it's clenched up, it's real stiff. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I think it's the worst sport ever invented. Whoever did that is somebody that obviously couldn't fucking win a run.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, what if we just walk as fast as we can?
Yeah.
And dude, they walk faster than a lot of people run.
Yeah.
These days, it's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
So
Can't do it.
I just a couple things popped into my head, but so what I have wrote down on here is ping pong, but I'm going to remove ping pong.
Yeah.
Because I don't think ping pong's stupid necessarily.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and I don't think it's not like cornhole where you. I mean, there's so many more intricacies.
But to dumb it down to ping pong, are you talking ping pong in your basement? Are you talking like legit?
Pro,
like
I'm talking about pro sports.
you're talking about table tennis then?
whatever.
Dude, but table tennis is a game, man.
Yeah, no.
Like those dudes get into it, and like you have to have some skill and some athleticism.
It is way different, So I'm gonna take that, but I will add badminton. Now I know that may not be pro. I know it was in the Olympics at one time.
Yeah.
So, like once again, I don't know if there's a pro
Yeah.
badminton, but I just think that's dumb.
I mean, it's a weird game to me that somehow this still gets played. You know, but to me, it's no worse than fucking pickleball. Like, just fucking play tennis, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
That's what popped into my head. That is stupid.
It's like a baby tennis court with a bigger ball and bigger paddles. Like, I don't.
So, I just literally like 2 days ago on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was, watched a professional pickleball thing. It was, but they brought these tennis stars in, and I'm like, just go play tennis.
Right. Like, do you really want to play pickleball against Roger Federer? I don't.
It was Agassi and his wife
It's Steffi.
against who's the American?
Well, that narrowed it way down for like old Pete Sampras.
No, not real old.
Andy Roddick.
Yes, Andy, and now he brought in an actual female professional that I'd never even heard of before.
But Agassi's wife is like the GOAT.
Yeah.
She's like one of the 3 women at the top.
So they're playing pickleball, and they might as well be playing tennis because that's what you look like. It looks like if you just squinted a little bit, you're like, oh, they're just playing tennis.
It's an aggressive game.
Yeah. But then it does get kind of cool. The only part I will give pickleball props on, now, I don't know if you'd see this on a day-to-day, average Joe's doing this, but because all these athletes that I was watching, they're all like, I mean, cat-like reactions, right? I mean,
Well, they were once finely tuned athletic machines.
even in their 50s, like the Agassi and his wife are 50 and 54.
Yeah.
Or 54 and 55. And Roderick, whatever his name is.
Roddick. He's in his late 40s now.
He's 41,
That's it?
40, 42, 43, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And then the other girl looked like she was in her late 20s. But anyways, when they get up to this, they're like hitting it back and forth so fast. And these reaction times,
Just looking like Forrest Gump out there?
100%, like, pow, 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 pow. And so that was the coolest part. You don't see that in tennis.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it was basically tennis on a smaller scale.
Yeah, dude, I'm not here for that. It's hilarious to me. There's a couple pickleball courts around here, and there's one that's at the soccer field where the youngest boy plays soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there hasn't been a game, and like he's played games at 8 o'clock in the morning, noon, 4 in the afternoon, 6. There's always a group of people there. It ain't like there's always 2 people there. There's always a group of people playing on those 2 courts and a line of people that are like waiting to get on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. Like, it's just one of those things. Apparently, I am silly.
Some guy made that in his driveway. I watched something
Yeah.
like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and it was like the origin of pickleball. So I'm like, I don't even know what this is, but I'm going to watch it because I got nothing else.
Well, I think we talked about this. You know where cornhole was invented? Do you know this?
West Virginia.
Ohio University, by students tailgating.
Yeah, well,
That became their game. A couple kids got together, decided they were going to throw this game together, like kind of made it up on the fly.
yeah, it's a great game. I mean, it's
Right.
simple.
And like that was the thing down there. Like it's the mecca of cornhole. Yeah.
The OGs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Some games just seem like not saying these games aren't fun to play. I love
Yeah.
playing cornhole.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the pro aspect of it seems silly.
Yeah. You know what I have a real problem with, and some people are going to think that I'm crazy for this, but free solo climbing. You know what free solo climbing is?
I do. It is dumb.
But here's what I have a problem with it is that these guys that are like the best in the world in it, they all have sponsorships. They make these movies, these videos of them climbing these crazy things with no help whatsoever. And to me, it's just like, why are we sponsoring this and like incentivizing people to get in this like at a young age?
They will always fall at some point. Maybe not for 15, 20 years, but at some point they will fall.
Like a lot of the legends, you know what I mean, have bit the dust.
All of them.
Right. And it's like, I don't know.
It's basically sponsoring suicide.
It's crazy. Like it's I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Free Solo.
Yes.
Dude, it takes a lot to make me nervous watching a documentary. I love documentary films, all shapes, sizes. I mean,
You're a middle-aged man.
it's like
Middle-aged man.
dude. As long as it's not, and Pete, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. You know that, but like, unless it's like a super woke documentary, I can watch about any documentary because there's something to be learned about what people's lives are, right?
Sure.
Dude, I sat and watched Free Solo. I was like sweaty palms and like nervous watching it, and like I understand that like. On top of education, you're supposed to be able to feel something from it, but I was just so annoyed at the whole thing. Like, why is this guy being incentivized to go out and do this by making this documentary film that he's going to then turn around and sell to Netflix and make $1 bajillion on? Like, that's what.
Well,
funny
thing is,
that's the risk.
A lot of those are after they're dead though. Money's going to their family.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he falls 300 feet into the first attempt, that's your movie. You know what I mean? Now you're a YouTube short film.
Yeah, 20 minutes of. No, now they have to film the whole backstory.
Yeah, stupid.
You know what I will say quickly to kind of change subjects, but along the same topics of Netflix shows, they're coming out with these like 3 series, which I
don't know what that means.
3 series shows.
You mean 3-episode documentaries, like documentary series?
Maybe documentaries, like the other one, like the last 2 I've watched, all 3 shows. 3 episodes.
What were they?
One of them was the girl that got killed, Gabby.
John Burnett. Oh, Gabby Patino.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but yes, that's the next one up. And they've done OJ and the Menendez brothers and
Right, but
John
those
Bonet.
aren't all 3. These new ones are like 3 shows.
No, all of those are.
All of them.
All 4 of those ones right there are 3 bangers.
Watch all those.
Yeah.
But the Gabby one.
Yeah. It's gonna piss me off. Like that's the hard part about watching those is like, you start to really dislike people through it.
What happens is you're like, I mean, obviously everybody knows Gabby Patino's dead.
Right.
We all know that.
Right. You know how it
I
ends.
mean, the show starts with an American murder or whatever it is. You know, I mean, we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you just see the life and the positivity.
Yeah.
You know, you see some people, like in our lives, we see lots of different people, not as many as before COVID, but still, we see people, and you know, there's those people that have that positive, uplifting attitude. I think that's probably why you and I are friends, because we're kind of like that.
We try to be.
We're not down in the dumps all the time.
No, we're realists, but we're pretty positive people.
For the most part, yes. We're on the upside of life versus the downside.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of people that are, you know,
doom and gloom all the time.
And then this young lady was just, you just see the spark. She wanted to do shit. She was adventurous, you know, and it was just like, fuck you, man.
Right. One douche.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. Not to dwell too far off here, but I will
Yeah.
tell you real quick, just on to conclude the Netflix thing is, we were talking a couple weeks ago now, and like, there's always like, what's up next? You know what I mean? Like you finish a show, it's like, what's up next? You know?
Don't you get that little bit of a like, there's nothing to do anymore?
But we've adapted to it to where like we've watched enough shows together to where it's like, okay, there's so much content being created now between the different platforms. It's like there's always something else coming out that sparks
Yeah.
our interest.
Right.
You know?
And sometimes it's good to have, like, if you've been watching something for like, I don't know how, I know you like to binge a little bit, but I don't know.
It's like 1 or 2 episodes. So like we've got to
Let's
dive
say
into
an
1 or
ep-
2 at a time. Though we don't sit down and waste a Saturday on
Yeah.
6 episodes.
Okay.
Like we don't do
Yeah,
that.
we
Like,
don't
it's-
either.
It's like 1 or 2 in the evening instead of watching half-hour sitcoms like was the norm in the '80s. We'll watch 2 1-hour
Yeah.
things. You know, 8 to 10 most
Right.
nights. You know, 9 to 11, whatever,
And
depending
you know what?
on how
And
late we had dinner.
and if you get into a bigger series where there's like 8 shows, it kind of gives you something to look forward to. It's kind of fun, right?
Yep.
Right.
So we were trying to find something to watch, and she was scrolling through on Netflix, and she was like, "Did you ever watch Making a Murder?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." I was like, "You want to watch this?" She's like, "Well, not if you already seen it." I'm like, "I'll gladly watch it again with you," because like I haven't seen it since it came out. No, I hadn't, and it came out years ago.
Yeah.
To where we're almost through the second season of it. But I would tell you what, like it's an interesting thing, like watching how frustrated she gets with all of it, just because of her knowledge of the law.
Yeah.
And like she's just sits there and she's like, I don't even know how you can pull this off. Like how some of these things like were done and weren't done, and it's like it's crazy.
But wait a second, because you told me, because that is all based around what's his face,
Stephen Avery.
being innocent.
That's what it's about. Yes.
But now you've told me, you asked me, or I asked, we were talking about that, and you said, but have you seen
Convicting a Murderer.
Right?
And that's a Candace Owens documentary series about the same thing, which
from
also,
the other perspective, right?
Right, was also compelling. And like that's the thing is like,
because you were telling me after watching the second thing that you said, Convicting a Murderer, that you kind of change your thought process.
So I'll throw it out there, and if by some miracle Stephen Avery's listening to this in prison right now, sorry, buddy. I think he was definitely involved in it. I think that given a lot of the circumstances and a lot of stuff that came up in the second documentary I watched, I definitely feel like he's involved. But then when you go back and watch the first one again, what it puts you into is, okay, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. What I'm more looking at now is like the procedure that went along with the whole thing. Just not good. Like the way a lot of things were done, like I can't believe that through our judicial process that they were able to get through it. And that's what her perspective is. She's like, I'm not saying he did it or didn't do it.
Right.
She's like, I don't know the answer to that question. She's like, but just procedurally, all these things that happened and didn't happen, it's like, it's been super interesting to watch it with her.
Yeah.
Like
I bet.
it's funny to watch a show like that with somebody that knows more about the ins and outs about it than you do. I mean,
So
I try to be well read.
Do you find yourself pausing and be like, so what does that mean?
Oh, we do it. Well, like I don't know if you guys are like this, but like if we're watching like a show that's just for entertainment, right? We're watching like Ozark, is a great one, right? Like most Netflix people now have seen Ozark, right? Ozark, you just want to watch the episode, right? Like every once in a while you might be like, what did she say? Or like, hey, why did he do that? Like I don't remember that part from earlier. But on this, like we actually have it down to a K, and so she'll be like pause. And like we'll just pause it for a second.
Yeah.
And she'll talk about something, or like I'll be like pause, and like I'll have a question and be like, hey, this is what I think of this. Like, what do you think? And a lot of times I'm right, and a lot of times she's like, no, you shouldn't do it that way, and here's why. To where it's been incredible for me. I recommend at some point in your life, if you can watch a documentary film with somebody that's an expert about the field that you're watching that documentary film in, it's a completely different experience.
I bet.
It's very unique. Like, and it's one of those things, like, if I didn't have her in-house, how would I know?
You wouldn't.
You know what I mean? All I would know is, like, from my own limited reading. Like,
You'd be just Blinders Jake. I mean, there you go.
I've said it more than once. If I hit the lottery tomorrow, first thing I do is quit my job. Second thing I do is go apply to law school. Because I wanted to be a lawyer when I was a kid. Like I'm to the age now where if I went back to law school now, I wouldn't be able to start practicing until I was probably right about 50. What am I doing at that point? I'm better off to just stay in the field that I'm in, But like that would 100%, I would go back to law school immediately.
You want to be like, you can't handle the truth.
No. Like I wouldn't be. I would probably be a defense attorney. Like I think that.
Really?
Yeah, I think that there's a real lack of defense attorneys these days.
Well, I'm sure there is, but why would you want to defend the bad guys?
That doesn't. No, like that's one of the things that's interesting about it though. Is like that wouldn't be the perspective, because this is the perspective that I would go in with, right? And I would go in with the idea that if you're lying to me, right? If you tell me you're guilty, I'm never going to defend you. If you tell me that you're guilty, that you're innocent, you better be, because I'm going to find out the answer to that question. I'm going to go through all the minutia. I'm going to do all the digging, all the diving, all the testing, everything that's got to be done. And if you're lying to me, I'm going to know it. And you're going to be in a worse place now than you were before you ever said hello to me. So if you want me to attack your case, that's how I'm going to go through it.
See, I think the defense lawyers, the good ones, are a different breed. And I think they get off on ending up being right, no matter what it takes.
I don't think so. I disagree. I think that the best defense...
OJ is my example.
But I think
those guys were high-paid, falutin', rootin', tootin' lawyers that knew he was guilty.
Now, you're talking about a celebrity lawyer.
I'm just saying,
but I think
those guys did everything they could to get him off.
No, I think the people that are the very best defense lawyers, that their goal is to take on clients that are wrongfully convicted,
right,
and find the path that proves
No.
not just that gets a jury to say not guilty. You want to prove their innocence. Sure. That is a defense attorney's crowning jewel.
Right. No. I mean that, but I mean, how many of those are you going to find in your life?
Depends on how you handle your career. There's a bajillion lawyers out there in all different spaces.
Yeah. No, I mean, getting somebody out of a situation that they weren't supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Well, of course, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So we can go back to the sports list though if you want to.
Yeah.
I got one more. How many more you got?
Sports list?
You got like
dumbass
the dumb sports.
I can't think of it.
All right, this is most people are gonna either give me a fist bump high five on this or want to flick me off for it, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. I don't care.
Rugby?
The WNBA. It's like if I wanted to watch JV high school basketball, I would not do it on ESPN. Like, I'm sorry. Like
even after the Caitlin Clark?
But I'll go this far. I drank the Kool-Aid for a minute. Like, women's college basketball is a different game than the WNBA is, right? Women's, like, they're still 18 to 22 years old. They're collegiate athletes. The game is different. A lot of these kids have been through the AAUs and the elite high school programs, and you've got the Gino Auriemma type coaches out there that these are still elite basketball teams. Would they get smoked by a state champion basketball team? Yes, it's happened. That's not me projecting. These teams would not hold up against 18-year-old boys that are at the top of their game. But it's a very, very good game to watch. I think that the WNBA it's not. I don't know if the court's a little bit too big. I don't know what, like, it's just, to me, if you watch an NBA game and then you immediately turn on a WNBA game, it's like, why are we doing this? Like, I'm not saying that women shouldn't be able to play basketball. I think the women should be able to play all the basketball in the world that they want to. But I think that trying to get my attention on a Saturday afternoon to spend 2.5 hours watching this game, that is not the same quality of another game I could watch.
Well, here's the thing.
It's like minor league baseball on TV.
It's not
Do you
for
watch
you.
it?
It's not for you. See, I heard this argument a couple years ago, and when they were saying that the WNBA was failing and a lot of teams folded, but there still was a few teams around, we'll say a core 10 or something, whatever, and people were saying, it's not for the men. It's for the women. Now, I'm not saying that men shouldn't go to the WNBA games. What I'm saying is, I'm more geared to watch the more elite players, which would be the men in this case, battle it out. But for the young aspiring woman's, or young lady that's a high school basketball player, she might want to go watch the WNBA. It might be up her cup of tea. So I guess what I'm saying is that the argument was made the WNBA is failing. I think it was it Bill Maher? No, not Bill.
Bill Burr? Bill
Burr was. I think this was in his bit. You go fucking watch the shows. The women should go watch these shows, and they should support.
But they don't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Once again, I'm not saying men shouldn't go watch these games and support them. What I'm saying is, it should be more female viewership.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's still a subsidized league because the quality just isn't there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Unless they find ways to improve the game and put it on kind of to the same par, it's hard to watch. There's a reason that outside of the NFL, how many football leagues make it that people continue to watch? I'll tell you, it's literally none because it's not the same quality of product. So why keep putting it out there? Like, I think that if you take a minor league caliber sport and you try to turn it into a pro sport, that's what I'm talking about as the problem. There's a reason that we don't base our Saturdays and Friday nights around watching the Akron Rubber Ducks baseball team.
Yeah.
Because it's minor league baseball. If we want to watch a baseball game, we're going to go watch the Guardians.
Right.
Right?
Or the Indians, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to be right.
Don't.
I'm just saying.
No,
so that's why I put it on the list because it's like it needs to be better.
I never thought about
than
shrinking the
now.
court. That might make it more fun.
Dude, give me a 9-foot rim and make the court 10 feet shorter on each end. Dude, you would speed that game up so much, so fast to where the game would improve immensely. But then you get into the whole, no, it's not equality. We want the same court as the men. Like, it doesn't make any sense. To me, it makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean,
on average, you're 40 pounds lighter.
I know you could probably name a few of them, but like me, if you asked me to, I could probably name 3.
What, players in the WNBA?
Reese, Clark and like an old Swoops or something.
Oh yeah, Cheryl Swoops.
that's-
But like she's like legendary. She's
Right.
a Hall of Famer.
Right.
You
But
know?
I'm just telling you, I don't think I could name any other ones.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And like some of the all-time greats like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, like those are names that they're not really household names because they couldn't be the backup point guard for Louisville. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just my thing on it. Some people aren't going to like my take. I don't give a shit.
I can hear
like,
them now.
That's just
They're
my
screaming.
that's my 2 cents.
Screaming into your
Right.
earphones.
You can keep the WNBA.
All right. Let's keep it going on sports, but let's go some home cooking sports.
All right.
Cleveland sports. I have this wrote. Cleveland sports. What the fuck?
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I'm going to start in the heart of it all, and that is with the Cleveland Indians. I'm not saying that they didn't do a good offseason rebuild, but maneuvering. But it sure seemed like when you go to the American League Championship and the Yankees had, for the most part,
Put it on them.
put it on them. But I mean, a couple of different things change in that. They're competitive, right? But it was close. But they needed more. They needed a little bit more.
You got to be able to score runs, baby.
Why do they get rid of 2 All-Stars for nothing? Who? Andres Jimenez, the platinum glover, second baseman.
Yeah, but that dude couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag.
The whole he's on average, if you look at every one of their averages, he is above average for that team.
Did he hit 240?
No, he's about 250 to 260.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll take the Coke challenge on that, man. There is no way that dude hits 250 or 260. He had one magical season that he hit right around 300 and wasn't a legitimate all-star from the way that he fields to the way that he hit. And after that, he just can't. Dude, he can't hit. He's a horrible. Like, dude, where are you going to put that guy in the lineup? 9? You can't bat every guy in your lineup 9. That's the only place you can put a guy like that.
Dude,
that's
you don't pay attention to their averages. They're all not great. Like, if you even looked at the whole league, for instance, the whole league is about averaging like 230 now with all these power hitters.
Not the elite teams.
They have good players that bat higher than that, but like Joe Deli, even he's like a 270 hitter now.
But if you take away his Aprils, he's around a 300 hitter. It's like his April every year. Like, I don't know why he can't
I
acclimate
don't
to
know,
being
the
cold
last
again
couple
for a minute.
Aprils he didn't start too cold. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I pay attention a lot, and why are you getting rid of Josh Naylor?
Dude, Naylor sucks though, man. That like the problem with Naylor is his strikeout rate is too fucking high.
Dude,
that guy blows.
All
and
the league is about is if you can hit 30
situationally, he's terrible.
No, he's not. If you can, the whole league is built on how many home runs you can hit. The guy hit 33. That's pretty good in this league.
I'm just saying.
And anyway, strikeouts. You're gonna argue strikeouts. Strikeouts. There's guys blowing up 200 plus because they can hit 35 home runs.
I'm just saying. I
What
don't
is,
have a problem with losing Naylor. Who's the guy you got at first base now? He's not bad.
Not bad. 40-year-old Santana.
Yeah, dude.
Good God.
That dude's gonna come out and hit 264. He's gonna do the same shit. He's gonna get his 20 home runs, his 14 doubles.
Why are we regressing though? We were in the American League Championship with a rookie fucking manager and put some more pieces. Okay, here, I don't care. Trade Jimenez. Trade
Naylor.
But get something for him. What the fuck?
I don't know. We'll see. Like lots of trades that involve minor league players. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's the worst trade of all time." And 3 years later, you got a guy like Frankie coming up through your system.
Listen, I know why they traded Jimenez because we got this guy Bazana.
Was he a second overall pick in the draft?
Number 1.
No, is he number 1? And he looks the part.
Well, but they're going to have to develop him. He's not coming up this year. And if he does, it'll be at, I don't know.
I don't know. You never know. That kid could be up before you know it.
Now, do we have other pieces? Yes, we have Angel Martinez. I love this guy. This guy, he not only looks the part, he's smooth. These guys that are just smooth, like we're talking like Ken Griffey smooth. I'm not saying he's Ken Griffey Jr. I'm just saying these guys that are smooth, I don't know. He's going to be good. Now, I don't know if he's going to be our second baseman. They're probably going to give Arias another shot at second base. Arias had this huge winter, like he's batting like 280 in winter ball or 320 in winter ball. But, you know, he always comes to spring training and lights shit up.
Who's your guy that's your shortstop?
I was going to say Pinocchio. We call him Pinocchio, Rocchio.
Oh, yeah, Rocchio.
Rocchio.
I don't mind him if he can start hitting a little bit more consistently.
Okay, but here's something I'm looking at. The playoffs happened. We went to the American League Championship. I was telling my son, I'm like, the guys that can perform in the playoffs, those are the guys you want. Not if that pressure is not too much and they can actually, because this guy, he had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 hits in a row towards the end in the Yankees series. He was like one of the few guys still getting hits. Although he also defensively dropped like 2 pop-ups.
Yeah, he had
something.
the boot. He had the boot.
But regardless, I like that kid just because he seemed to be very clutch in the playoffs. Now, my biggest question for the Indians is right field. They've been platooning Brennan and a couple guys for the last few years.
Who's the young kid that you had last year? Tall, thin kid.
Well, they picked up a guy.
Yeah.
For center field.
Right. I mean, if you want the home run guys, you got Christmas.
That's what I'm saying. So, and that guy has a rocket arm. He's a right fielder. It's time to pull Brennan and sit him, and he can be the bench guy. He can play every single outfield.
Right, be the platoon guy.
He can be the platoon guy, giving guys days off. That's fine. But you gotta fucking if they don't do anything,
Yeah.
because you got rid of your 4-hitter. Well,
Yeah.
he's got to be your 4-hitter. The dude, once again, clutch in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Noel.
we were throwing around his the call. Tom Hamilton called
yeah.
your buddy,
Yeah.
Hammy, throwing that call around your brother.
Saved the series.
He says, "I want that for my phone ringer." I said, "I just did mine." He goes, "Send it to me." I'm like, "You got an iPhone?" He's like, "Fuck." What did I say? I said, "Josh, I'll let you call me next time I'm with you." Of course, we never did any of that because we all forget.
Right.
But
I can't believe you guys haven't traded Hamilton yet. You guys get rid of everybody else.
So we'll see. I mean, if they really think John Kenzie Noel is their new 4-hitter, okay, you got rid of your first baseman. I still don't know why you're bringing in Santana for the 3rd round. This is round number 3 for Santana. The guy is consistent. I know he's a money ball guy, right? He's going to walk a lot. He's going to bat 260. He's going to maybe hit 25 home runs. And that's not bad. But I don't know. Defensively, I don't know, like 40?
We're gonna find out.
So that's
But you did make a move that I was surprised at and happy to see is because he's coming off the injury. You got Shane Beebs back for a year, baby.
Wow.
Like, you got to be jacked about that. Like, you got another frontline guy. If he comes back any kind of healthy and any semblance of what he was.
Well, but it's only going to be half a season. And if things don't work out quite well this season, he's going to be fucking gone at trade deadline. Everybody knows that. But I will say this, though. Yes, I'm very glad that he signed. I think a little bit of Joe Deli's rubbing off on him. For those of you who do not live in Ohio and could give 2 shits about the Cleveland Indians,
That's okay.
Jose Ramirez has decided he wants to be a lifer and own every single hitting record that he can compile.
Yeah.
He wants his statue out front. And to me, that's true American old school. You want to be the best for the team that drafted you. The best ever. Not just, I'm going to run around now and be Myles Garrett and try to get a ring. Blah.
Nah, we can get into that whenever you're ready.
We will.
Whenever you're ready, man.
That's last. But the one, we'll stop there with the Indians.
I'll say one more thing about the Indians. Though.
Okay.
I don't think that you're giving enough credit to a few of the moves that they made. Like, I think that you got a little bit younger on offense. I think that your offense wasn't great, especially in the second half of the season last year, to where I'm not opposed to making some changes that might help you steal a few more bases, manufacture a few more runs. This team is never going to lead the league in homers. We're going to find out.
Listen, manufacturing runs, they were very good at all year.
But the other move that nobody is really talking about that is a fantastic move is bringing in Junis. Junis is a legit door slammer. He's going to come in and be your 8th inning guy to where he doesn't have to. Junis, you just signed him to a 1-year deal. That dude, legit. He was
Okay.
40.
I don't know
40,
if you paid attention. We don't need any door slammers. We get
yes,
all
you
kinds-
do.
No, we don't.
Oh, dude, I don't know if you watched the playoffs. Your bullpen fell apart against New York. Dude, I'm telling you, this is a guy that is going to.
Bullpen didn't fall apart. I think
Yeah,
the moment.
dude, yes, it did. Class A sucked. How many
Okay,
games did he blow? 3?
The moment got to Class A. And I'm going to tell you what, it all started. If you actually are paying attention in the Detroit series against fucking Carpenter, Bo Naylor is calling the pitches. Class A threw 3 fucking sliders in a row, and the third one left the fucking park.
I don't disagree with you.
Class A doesn't throw sliders very rarely. I'm just telling you what, that was a fuck up.
I didn't say that it wasn't, but
You're not hearing me.
But
if
the
that
pitches
doesn't
that he
happen,
threw against
if that doesn't happen, he doesn't unravel the whole
I don't.
playoffs.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I will not concede that because like you got dude. Greg Maddux. Did he never give up a home run in his career? Did he never leave a hanger that got blasted out of the yard? Dude, that shit happens. But when you're a legit lockdown, the best closer in baseball, you can't carry what happened in the
So you
Detroit
think they're
series.
gonna replace
3
Clase?
games later. No, but what I'm saying is you needed another guy back there that is a big, powerful flamethrower. Don't give a shit. We'll
have 4
plow
of
you
them.
over. I'm telling you, man.
Cade Smith,
We'll see. I
the
don't.
missing link.
I'm telling you, before the midpoint of the season, you're gonna be like, we're gonna be down here talking about it, and I'm gonna be like, so Junis, and you're gonna be like, yeah, you were right. That dude is a door slammer.
Okay,
100%.
I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just telling you, our bullpen didn't need anything.
Yeah, dude,
No.
it needed one. Dude, you needed one more because the other thing
you
about it
didn't
is
pay attention at
Dude, you
all
rely
last
on your
year.
bullpen so heavily. You had the second worst starting average innings in the American League last year.
That's the problem.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
The bullpen.
You think that's going to change? You think that your manager
Yes.
is going to change the way that he manages? That ain't going to happen, dude. He did the same thing. They did the same
It's
thing in
because
Houston.
he couldn't rely. He never coached in Houston.
He played in Houston.
Has nothing to do with anything.
You
You don't understand. If you can get more length out of your, and I'm talking an inning more, get into the 6th inning, you don't have to abuse your bullpen like that. The fix is not the bullpen. The bullpen is fucking legit. I'll tell you what, I'll put that bullpen up against anybody's bullpen.
Well, we'll see how they hold up again because
It's
you're going to go through the
starting
same shit.
pitching that they needed to fix, and they haven't answered that either. Although there's things that, like McKenzie, that guy has a good year. Okay, that solves a lot of problems. I mean, there's a lot of ifs. You got
But with your salary that this team has, because your owner won't put money into it, you're always going to have a lot of ifs. I think that when you look at your team right now, for the money that's being spent on it, you have the best possible roster you could ever expect without
Sure.
dumping another $50 million into the team.
for the money they for some reason they won't spend. I saw a picture the other day. It was Myles Garrett. This is courtside of the Cavs games. Myles Garrett, fucking Pencil Dick Dolan, and Gilbert.
Yeah.
And they're Gilbert and Pencil Dick are fucking talking.
Yeah.
And there's Garrett looking at him while they're talking. And I'm just like, you got the owner of the Cavs that he don't shy away from spending fucking money. He's
No,
not.
you're incentivized to in the NBA.
There's Dolan, won't fucking write a check for anybody. And then there's Myles Garrett that, probably has.
Let's get into it. Go to the Browns.
No, we're going to the Cavs.
Oh, you want to finish with the Browns?
Yeah, the Cavs are the one bright spots, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I figured you'd save them for last.
No, we're gonna save the fun for the last.
All right.
No, the Cavs are the one bright spot. I don't think they have the best record in the NBA any longer, but man,
Second.
they have the best in the East, and we'll see what happens, man.
They're a problem.
They are a good team, and we were talking about it on the ride down to the property the other day. They're well coached. They have a great coach right now, and it's gonna come down to health. If the guys,
Not just attitude.
well, no, I think it's the biggest part is health, because when a couple of the guys they traded, Levert and somebody else, those guys
Nyang.
were I don't know if it was Nyang that was hurt, but Levert was definitely injured for a few games, and another guy was injured, and
Strus.
their bench wasn't as deep, and they were having problems winning games through that portion of time. So I think health. I mean, obviously, the deeper your team is, the more game. I mean, it's got to be a good depth.
Yeah.
Can't be shitty players, but the deeper your teams are, the better you're going to do long run.
I don't know. We talked about this too, but over the course of the last couple of weeks before the All-Star break, they started playing a little tougher, getting a little tougher around the rim. You know,
Sure.
Giving a little bit more pronouncement on some of the fouls. You know what I mean? Like making guys go to the line instead of these little weak ticky-tack stuff. Like, I think that they're going to have to play tough down the stretch. I think that they're as talented as anybody in the league. It's all between the ears, man.
Oh, for sure.
When you get to play, because when the first round is going to be almost a wash, like in the East. When you get down to the Final Four, which is going to be Cleveland, Milwaukee, New York, and Boston, however you get matched up in there, you're going to have to bring the wood.
Oh yeah, it's going to be.
I mean, you got two teams that have recently won championships that aren't afraid of you at all, and you've got a next team that beat you in the playoffs. So you're going to have to bring the heat. And they're going to have to believe that they can beat these teams. Like, I think that I've watched them play a lot of games this year, almost every single one.
Well, the Knicks did not beat them the last year in the playoffs. That's what matters.
2 years ago, last time they played them in the playoffs, they beat them.
I think we beat the Knicks last year to move on. Because didn't we get beat? Didn't Boston? Wasn't it Cavs in Boston, or was it not?
Cavs in Boston was the second round.
Oh, okay.
You lost in the second round, and then they beat the Knicks. Boston beat the Knicks in the conference finals.
Okay.
You beat Orlando in the first round.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to be tough. And, like, you watch the games against Boston, I think they play different against Boston than they do any other team in the league. Like, they have got to get to a point where they believe that they can beat this team.
Well, they have
soundly
beat them this
over
year.
once. And
That's a win.
I didn't say that it wasn't. I'm just saying that they're going to have to come up with a different belief system. Like, it's going to have to really be a all for one. It's like when Jordan finally beat the Pistons and broke through. You know what I mean? It's going to have to be one of those type things.
That fucking Boston team, that's fucking crazy watching them. I mean, you talk about just like the reins are off. These guys just fucking shoot, the most threes of any team, and they're accurate. And I just don't. I mean, I know basketball's changed a lot, but everybody does love the three ball. I mean, who doesn't? You know, fucking swooshing one from deep. It's fucking immaculate. But
it does.
I mean, it's the game is so different. But it's pretty impressive that you can have that many guys shooting that many threes and at a high percentage.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We got 30 games to go, and then we're in the playoffs. We're gonna be here before we know it.
What'd you say? Their playoff number was like 4 or 3 or
I think it's 5. Five wins, and they're in.
And they just finished the All-Star break.
Right.
All right. Last but not least. Oh, what did I have here? Oh, yeah. Okay, we're good. So the Browns.
You're up first. Which direction you want to take this?
Well, we know the situation. Everybody in the world fucking knows the situation because he fucking wanted to put this out in about a week before the Super Bowl. I don't know what's going to happen.
With Miles? Is that what you're starting with?
Yeah,
the Browns?
Myles Garrett.
There's a lot going on with the Browns, so if that's where we're going to start, that's fine.
Well, we're at the Browns.
Okay.
We have two directions here.
Yeah.
They're either going to trade Miles and get some draft capital and blah-de-dee, and try to move on. Or you said something to me the other day. You said JF. They're going to keep Myles Garrett and go get Justin Fields and see what they can do. I mean, they don't have to trade Garrett.
No.
And if you really think they can get Justin Fields,
Sure.
I really think he would be good for us.
Fields and Cousins are the Fields, Cousins, and Wilson. Like, either Wilson or Fields probably returns to Pittsburgh for this next year. But realistically, if you wanted one of those three guys, you could probably get them, and without it being a catastrophic investment.
I think Fields is the best option just because he's obviously younger. You two were telling me about some stats the other day where he's one of the only 4 players to throw 16 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yeah.
That was this last year, right?
Year before. It was his last year in Chicago.
Oh, last year in Chicago. Okay, I thought you meant that was part of his 4 games in Pittsburgh.
No.
Okay, well, then that's not the fucking same thing.
Dude, Pittsburgh had the worst supporting cast that he's had in years, though. I'll easily go on record and say that what he had in Chicago weapons-wise was miles better. The problem was his offensive line. The same thing Caleb Williams dealt with there last year.
Right.
Dude, you give Fields a legit offensive line, that kid's still a problem. Anybody that thinks that he can't throw a football, pull up some Ohio State film of that kid throwing the football. Deep, accurate, smooth, fast. I mean, the kid can throw a football.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to give him a second.
Right.
You know? But
So-
dude, if you bring him in and you draft Abdul Carter, dude, that's what this whole thing hinges on, that second pick. If you take one of these half-ass, ramshackle rookie fucking quarterbacks, fucking Cam from the Hurricanes or Shador from Colorado, fucking pack it in, dude. You're going to have 5 or 6 more years of fucking obscurity.
So let's play GM.
Yeah.
You're GM.
Yeah.
I'm GM. We're both GMs of the Browns.
Yep.
Different universes. But we're both in the same situation.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, we would, as GMs, we would know way more about what's going on.
Sure.
But from what we hear, let's just play from what we actually know. So when the season was over, Myles Garrett was still a Brown, and he wanted to continue to be a Brown. And then we hear that he went and talked with LeBron, out of Cleveland LeBron, and then he's changed his mind. Wants to leave and comes out and says that. So obviously you're in control of him for 2 years if you want to. Obviously, you know that as a GM, if you decide to be you're ours, we have a contract, fuck you. He could hold out and not play, and then both teams lose, both sides lose. But do you really think if you didn't trade him, do you think he would hold out, and not play?
He may.
But we've seen players in the past. I was throwing in our chat. I'm throwing out. Ask Le'Veon how that worked out. I mean,
He's not Le'Veon Bell.
I'm just saying. At the time, Le'Veon was one of the top 5 running backs in the league, maybe even more, higher. And he was behind a good Pittsburgh offensive line, and he would just dance through the line, and the guy was an amazing. And then all of a sudden, he decided he wanted more from his team, and sat out for a couple years, and then tried to come back. Was with the Jets, a couple other teams, and who's Le'Veon? And plus, Garrett is at that age where, how long do you think? He's obviously a finely tuned machine. Is he going to play till he's 35? Is he going to play?
I think he's got 4 more years of dominance in him.
So why would you sit for 2?
He's not going to sit for 2.
I'm just saying, why would you sit then? If you've only got a couple more years.
Dude, but if he sat for an entire year, that would elongate his career by a year. You're talking that much time to not take those
You're
hits.
still going to age,
not be in those.
though.
Yeah, but you think, what's the difference between anybody at 32 and 33? It's not a ton of range to cover. So if you spend an entire year at 29 getting yourself 100% right, the healthiest you've ever been since you probably came into the league.
I don't know. I don't think it gets you.
But he's not Le'Veon Bell either. This guy is a generational player.
Yeah.
Paved his road. Dude, he could quit now and he's in Canton at 29. He could retire at 29. That dude's going to Canton. Mm-hmm. There's no two ways about it.
I just, what pisses me off about the Garrett thing, and I really don't care. I'm almost over it now. Go get some draft picks and let's move on. But what kind of pisses me off about Garrett is dude's kind of forgetting what some things that fucking happened. The team stood by him in his darkest fucking moments in the league for some stupid fucking things that he did, and now he just wants to say F you because we're going through some shit. He's been through some shit before. I'm serious, man. When he hit that, I was in San Diego, California
For the Mason, for the helmet swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team could have fucking dropped him. That would have changed his whole career. Now, of course, somebody would have probably picked him up after a couple years, maybe.
Immediately.
I'm just saying. It was.
All I'm saying is that guy's only got any of these guys, they only have so much time left. And when you look at the position that his team is in right now, if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at your GM. The fact that the ownership group is keeping this guy here is insane.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you get a guy like Fields, obviously he may not be the end all answer, but you got a decent quarterback. Maybe bring in another wide receiver. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen at running back, but
You got to retool your entire offense. You've got one guy on your offense that's healthy and kicks ass on a consistent level that's not going anywhere, and that's Judy. Jerome Ford, bottom 5 starting running back in the league if he's your starting running back. And Njoku, great for the 7 games that he plays every year. You don't have a wide receiver to play opposite of Judy. Your offensive line is nowhere near what it was 3 years ago.
Sure.
Everybody's hurt or moved on. Like, this offense needs rebuilt from the ground up. I trade Garrett. Get the picks, get whatever. If you can get a 1 and a 2 for him, a 1, a 3, and a 4, whatever it ends up looking like, bring those picks in to help rebuild this team. You're also $60 million over the cap. You have the worst cap situation in the entire league. You know the other guy I get rid of immediately? Fan favorite or not, local kid or not. Dude, Denzel's got to go. That guy misses time every fucking year being hurt. And he's sucking up another $20 million every year. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, there are guys that you paid trying to make a run at a championship. Because of the situation that they've created at quarterback, you have got to get that whole situation rectified. You've got 2 more years until you're out from underneath that shit blanket. That's the reality of it, right? So I think that you make the moves now. JOK may never come back. Like, we have no idea what the situation is with his neck. So you're talking 3 Pro Bowl caliber guys on your defense. But you have got some young guys like Mike Hall is absolutely filthy, right? You've got a handful of DBs back there that are good. There's a few DBs that we would agree have to go because all they do is commit penalties back there, right?
Yeah.
So bring in a young beast edge rusher. Abdul Carter is your guy. And that's the thing, too, about this draft is this running back is super running back heavy and super defensive end heavy. I mean, there's always lots of offensive linemen to go around, but like you could retool with a few edge rushers in this draft that you're paying rookie contracts to, not a lot of money that can make immediate impacts. So why not get the draft pick so where you can go out and you can draft a real left tackle somewhere in the middle of the first round? You know, you can use a 2nd round pick on one of these ninja fast wide receivers like a Luther Burden that's coming out of LSU. He looks like Malik Neighbors or Zay Flowers type 2.0. Athletic, strong, super fast, kind of short. Like to play opposite of Judy. Like, but your offense needs retooled.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean,
what do you want to see? If you're the GM, what are you doing at quarterback?
Well, I don't know.
Because you're screwed with Watson. This year's a loss, and if they can't win against the NFLPA and save some money off of that contract, that's killing you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I don't know. I think I would probably try to go after a kid like Fields if possible.
Daniel Jones.
I don't know.
Do you bring back Jameis? Do you have the expectation that you're not going to be able to put this team together this year in a way that's going to actually compete for a Super Bowl title?
I tell you what, Jameis Winston's fun to watch.
Dude, even if you win 5 or 6 games with Jameis Winston, Cleveland Browns football is interesting and fun to watch when he's on the field.
It is.
Did you remember the Thursday night game in the snow in Denver? It was fucking amazing.
No,
it was one of the most fun games all season.
Pittsburgh.
Was it in Pittsburgh? The crazy game?
Beat Pittsburgh, yes.
The Denver game was the game that he threw for like 500 yards.
Well, I don't know, but we beat Pittsburgh in the snow. They couldn't even see the lines.
Was that the Thursday night game?
Yeah.
I thought that was the Denver game.
I mean, all I know is they beat Pittsburgh in the snow, and fucking the wide receiver for Pittsburgh, well, the weather had a lot to do with that. Well, you both had to play in it.
But like he had the one game, he had like 393 yards, 3 touchdowns,
Well,
3 interceptions, two of which were pick sixes.
That might have been the Denver game where he threw for a lot of yardage, but all I know is the snow game was the Pittsburgh game.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I would rather see him do something like that. You can get that guy in for a song.
Yeah.
$4 million per year on a 2 or 3 year contract. You know, if you believe in a young kid like a Jackson Dart, that you might be able to get a little bit lower. Like, I don't know that he's going to be a top 10 pick.
Who is Jackson Dart?
He's the Ole Miss kid.
I don't know the college
Oh,
kids.
man. This kid has steadily
Quarterback?
moved up. Yes. He's
I
steadily
love the
moved
last
up.
name.
Dude, and his completion percentage is fantastic. He's mobile, but like he's smart. Like these quarterbacks that run when they have to, but are predominant throwers, but like have great pocket presence. Like that's what this kid is. Like he's the type of kid. Get him and actually let him sit. Let the Jameis Winston experience go out there and make us pound our fists in excitement and pound our fists in anger because of the dumb shit that he does.
I guess my problem is, I'm just still hanging on.
This group is done.
As a fan.
Like, Chubb ain't coming back, and if he
Yeah.
does, he's never going to be the same thing again. That got ruined. Like, what are you holding on to at this
I don't
point?
think Chubb is done.
Dude,
I don't.
I don't know, man. That dude is
think-
never going to be the workhorse that he was.
I
And if he
think
does,
that-
it's going to do it for one more year.
I think that the offensive line doesn't help him at all. right now.
Disaster.
Yeah.
And you have no money.
Right.
But you have the most draft picks in the league right now with 12. So even if you hit on 6 of those 12, trade Garrett, get a few more high ones. I mean, and I fully expect that Barry is going to try to use some of those picks to consolidate and move up in some of these rounds, right?
Barry who?
Your
Oh,
GM.
Andrew Barry.
Right. To where
Barry.
But I think this is you're trying to hit the reset button in a way that's harder than any other way to do it because you don't have 4 first-round picks over the next 3 years along with $60 million in cap space. Because that's how these teams get built. You get all the draft picks, you build up the cap space, then you bring in the free agents to where you got that perfect medal of 3 or 4 years of these are all of our ass-kicking free agents. These are our young kids that are still on their rookie contracts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give a fuck as a fan. If you're
But
gonna,
you do.
If you're no, I mean, as far as a rebuild goes, I mean, no one likes a fucking rebuild, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Didn't they win a Super Bowl in a rebuild year? But that was the second or the third in a row, second in a row. I don't know, but
But they got a guy that's a one of one.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
people can talk shit about him losing that Super Bowl and stuff, but like at the end of the day, he never quit playing. Just kept chucking the ball, and if that's the worst game that he played all year. People forget, like people love to be on his ass. That dude's won 3 Super Bowls and has been in 5 already.
It wasn't his fault, dude. That defense was.
But dude, the pick 6 was 100% his fault. The other interception that was bad was 100% his fault. But like, yes, that's the first time all year Kansas City's defense didn't show up.
You say 100% his fault. He had guys all over him. I mean, he's not used to having guys in his face like that.
I'm just saying, DeAndre Hopkins uncharacteristically dropping a ball where he's wide open. I mean, there was nobody within 20 yards of him in midfield if he catches that ball.
You know what I think? I think the fix was on.
You think that I think that people are tired of him.
Oh, no. I think people are tired of Kansas City too. But what I'm saying is, as shit fucking goes, they weren't looking like a team on the downswing. They were looking like a team just right where they've been. They keep winning these fucking games. Here they are in another Super Bowl. Why would you bet against them? I think the fix was in.
I don't think so. I think that this Philadelphia team was one of those teams that it took a few years. They won the Super Bowl a few years ago, but this team is drastically different.
Yeah,
And-
the defense was
and-
unreal
Yeah.
that game. Now, we all know about defenses, though. You can have some really good defenses. Browns had, what top 3 defense a couple years ago, and if they don't show up, it don't matter what your defense looks like.
I agree, but this Philly defense is very, very well
No,
built.
but I'm just saying, they still have to show up, and they did
Yes.
in a big way.
in a huge way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Your Browns got a long way to go.
No, I mean, it's a shit sandwich right now.
Yeah,
And-
this year's not going to be good. But I'll tell you, like we're waiting until it gets a little closer to the time. Like I'm considering getting Brown season tickets this year. They're going to be the low water mark,
You screwed up.
before.
For those of you that don't know,
don't.
Jake went out and bought Detroit Lions season tickets because he was doing Thanksgiving, right? You went a big Thanksgiving thing up in Detroit.
So the reason I bought them is because this was when Detroit was they had golf, but they didn't suck. But they were on the cusp of like getting to where they're at now, right? To where tickets were still the second cheapest ticket in the league. I was able to get 2 seats at the 10-yard line, 30 rows up on the end of the row. Like it was great, a great place to watch a game. And I could literally buy the tickets, sell tickets to a bunch of games because we've got some people that we know up in Michigan, right? Sold the tickets for face value to a bunch of the games, and I could go see the Bears play every single year up there without having to pay the ungodly amount of money that it takes to get into Soldier Field. That was the logic. So I'm sitting at the 10-yard line, 30 rows up with a great view, inside of a building that's always 73 and sunny because it's a dome, instead of going to Chicago and paying $500-$600 a ticket.
The part I give you the hard time about is because you got rid of them
Right at the wrong time.
right before, because Jake could have made a mint on these things.
The last couple of years, too. Yes. Yeah, I gave them up at the wrong time. But the Browns, that's why I'm trying to get back into the right time.
Yeah.
Now, you get them in when you suck. The team's going to start to rebuild, and then you're going to build that facility in Berea, and I'm already going to be on the list and get my tickets.
I'll tell you what. I don't know. We may not have talked about this yet. What do you
stadium?
think about the? It's not Berea. It's Brook Park.
Brook Park. Same place.
What do you? Same place. What do you think about that?
I love it.
You want them to
Hell
make something?
yes. Why
Well,
not?
of course you do, because you're not. I mean, I know you root for the Browns on occasion, but you're not the diehard Browns fan.
What do you want? Dude, it's a fucking disaster out by the fucking water. The stadium fucking sucks. Anybody that thinks that that stadium doesn't suck, I would implore you this. Go to 3 other NFL stadiums. I don't give a shit. You can go to Jacksonville, Carolina, and wherever else you want to. It is a shitty stadium by NFL standards. Dude,
Why?
No matter how bad you hate them, go over to Pittsburgh one time and watch a Pittsburgh game.
I don't want to.
Right. I don't blame you. But if you can remove your Pittsburgh hate and just appreciate what it is, that thing is a shrine to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's an amazing place to walk into and feel like, oh my God, the love of this place. The Browns Stadium is a concrete fucking block. It fucking sucks. There's nothing about it that's alluring. Like, the fucking weather sucks for all of your fucking fans when things get shitty. You don't even have the fucking heated seats that they got in Buffalo. Like, you don't do anything for your fans that make this experience fucking awesome up
Now,
there.
wait.
It's a shithole.
I'm sure those heated seats in Buffalo aren't every single seat.
I didn't say they were every single seat.
They're for the premium rows.
They're fucking legit, dude. If anybody gets a chance to go sit in one of the heated seats in Buffalo,
That'd
it's
be
a cool
pretty
thing.
cool.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, to be able to go to a world-class venue to showcase things. Hey, the Raiders fucking suck. You should see where they play.
Yeah.
It's fucking immaculate.
I'm on all in for it just for that reason, because
But there's always a but.
No, I don't have a but. I mean, like you said about Ford Field. I mean, going to watch a game and you can fucking take your jacket off in December or January. Well, I guess we hope we're playing in January. But I'm just saying, that is pretty alluring. Plus, it'd be pretty cool to have a fucking Super Bowl in Cleveland. You know? Even if it's not the Browns.
But history's repeating itself too. This is the second fucking time that the city isn't trying to actually step in and do anything other than block it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that the Indians are your team. Like, above all teams, the tribe is your team, right? They built Jacobs Field for the Indians, and they left the Browns in the fucking shithole out by the lake. Doesn't make any sense. The worst team in the majors.
They don't want them to move. The city doesn't want them to move.
I'm just saying, but the worst team in the majors the whole way through the 80s is the team that gets the brand new stadium. Nobody knew when they built that stadium that you had Lofton by Bell, that team was about to show up on the scene. But nobody,
they
didn't.
They did.
No. Because that project started 3 years before that. That team was nowhere near built. And your Browns at the time were winning division championships. They were a problem still in the AFC. And you left them out there in the mistake by the lake, so they move. Everybody hates Modell, but the city did nothing to keep them. It's the same situation now. They want to turn what they had into a dome. They put a whole thing out there. Hey, this is what it's going to cost. About 2/3 of what the whole new facility is going to cost. We got to rip out some shit down here, develop the water line. They want to tear out Burke Lakefront, put in hotels, put in nice restaurants, like make a district that goes with it. And the city's pushing back on it. It's like, what do you want them to do? Mm-hmm. At some point, you have to have a marquee facility if you're going to have a place that's going to bring in a Super Bowl and the huge concerts and the big events to stuff.
Yeah.
City of Cleveland is ran like shit, is what it comes down to. It's always been run like shit, and it's going to continue to be run like shit. It doesn't change. You know, the only time that it didn't seem like it was when LeBron was here and there was an endless money funnel coming into the city because everything that guy touched turned to gold.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's always fucking been like this. Right?
I guess.
Come on, Cleveland.
Cleveland sports. What the fuck?
Fucking Cleveland. What
All
the
right,
fuck?
let's completely change the subject here.
Oh.
So, I got an update for you.
This guy.
So, if you've paid attention, this is for the Hateful 88. We've been doing some deer hunting, or I've been trying to. And on November 2nd, things changed for me. I finally scored, harvested the nice 8-point, nice long-bodied 8-point, and it was with the crossbow, and it was maybe no shot is cheap when you're deer hunting, but he came right in. He was like 12 yards away, and it was just like the heavens opened, like, here you go. If you fuck this one up, it's on you. So put an arrow through him. He trotted about 20 yards, which is another dream because I didn't have to go, looking for him, tracking him. And we're about to take the meat finally, 1st of March to the processors, right?
Yep.
So Did also score 2 more does later. And when I first started hunting in 2021, I really had no. I wanted to shoot a buck. I mean, I guess when you start deer hunting, that's what you go hunting for.
That's what everybody says.
And I didn't realize that there was a program that you can feed the hungry with deer. You take your deer. The only thing you have to pay is your tag, which in Ohio it's very affordable. It's like $31 for your tag. So you take the deer gutted to this place or to one of the butchers that are in the program, and it goes to feed the hungry. So now all of a sudden I was like incentivized to like, let's just kill everything. So I was lucky enough to get the buck in early November, and then took 2 doe later in the year, and it's been a fun season.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. The best part about that is when Adam shot his buck, we were all out there. All 3 of us were out there.
Yeah.
And it was one of those wonderful November mornings where there was a lot of deer activity going on. We had a real nice deer that was running around. It was one of the half racks.
Yeah.
To where, like, when you see him at first, he's impressive. And then he turns his head and you're like, did you leave something at home, buddy? Like, where's the other half of that? But he chasing does, which, again, if you're into deer hunting, like when the deer start chasing, you just see a lot more deer. It's a lot more enjoyable time to be out. And we're texting back and forth in the woods just, about what we're seeing and stuff and how it's going. And then Adam just throws into the group text. He's just like, brown down. And we're like, what? Because like when you hunt with a crossbow, you can't really hear it, right? So like Adam's hundreds and hundreds of yards away from anybody else to where it's like, wait a minute, what? And he's like, buck down. Like, those were his first 2 texts to us. And I'm like,
Dude, okay, you got to also...
dude, I'm built so much different than this, though. Dude, if it was me on my first buck like that, I'd been like, holy fucking shit, fucking 8-point down.
You don't understand.
He's right fucking here.
That's why I couldn't text, because I was in my mind, I'm going, what? I messaged my stepdad, the same thing, and he goes, have your knees stopped shaking yet? So yeah, it was quite the experience. I don't want to say it was an out of body, but the nerves, the like, what do I do next? Like, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool. And then Jake right away says, wait an hour, make sure that thing is good and dead. So now I got to sit there for an hour, and I'm like, keep looking. I'm like, yeah, he's still there. Every 15 or 10 minutes, yeah, he's still there. And then finally climbed down, and he had went into the neighbor's field just a little bit, so I drug him back.
It wasn't even the field. Like, there's a property line that's
there's a
fairly
property
close.
line, right.
It might have been 6 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't much. So brought him back in. Fortunately, it was all downhill, so got him underneath the stand, and then I was telling Jake later, I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm smelling this deer the whole time. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, that's the greatest smell in the whole world.
It's an earned smell.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did take him to the taxidermist, waiting to get him back. It'll probably be a few more months, but looking forward to that.
Yeah. The one thing that, like, not to sound funny about it, but like, it's one of those things. It's like when you start hunting, like, you either have or you have not yet taken a deer, right? And trying to explain to people what that feeling is like, especially the first one. Like, but I think that you would probably agree, even the does after that. Like, it is if it's something that you're into, like, the heart gets going, and like, you can feel it, like you got the blood flowing pretty strong. And like, this is where when you get better at it, like, you get yourself under control and you figure out where they're going to go and you make the good shot. But like, after you take the shot and you know that it was good and you know that they're going down, it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then like the adrenaline dump takes in, and like, you can't hardly function for a few minutes.
Right.
And there's very few things in this world like that make you feel like that. I think especially that are positive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Plenty of negative things. I'll tell you what, just for the listeners at home or in their car or wherever you're at. So I took 3 deer, my first 3 deer. The first one was a buck. It was, if you're keeping score, and it was real close, and I was obviously right above him. And so it hit him high, but when it exited, it went right through the lung perfectly. So that's why he didn't go too far. The second one was a doe right in front of me, about 35 yards. Now, this was with a rifle. This was a 400 Legend shot.
Yeah, buddy.
And lights just went out. And I gut shot at her fortunately, she did about the same. She went about 30 yards right in front of me and was done. Then the last one was the one I'm pretty proud of. It was about a 60-yard shot with the 400 Legend. I don't know these things, but I'm assuming I shot her in the heart because she didn't even move. She literally collapsed immediately. So that was pretty cool. Or not cool, but for me, for the first experience of that, it was way different. So,
But that's what you aim for. Like,
Yeah.
no pun intended. Like, clean, ethical.
oh
you
yeah,
know?
I mean,
Yeah, but her
Dead-
heart was trashed when we
dead in a
when,
second.
when we field dressed her. Like,
Yeah.
she was 100%.
yeah,
So yeah, it was a super fun season. It was a weird year out there in a lot of ways.
yeah.
For those of you that listen and remember anything that we had going on, we ended up in a situation where we had a lot of growth that we didn't have a great plan for how to get it out of there. So we allowed a select cut of some timber this year. Didn't make hardly anything on it. It was really about opening up the woods a little bit. And then those guys were gracious enough to come down with a nice big old front loader, and were able to help us clean some stuff up out there to where our logging roads are crisp and clean again. Felt like a little bit at the beginning of the season. It took a little bit of time for the deer to come back after all the commotion.
I think so.
Because they didn't get done until middle of August, which is a little later than we would have wanted it. To where it ended up being a really cold season, which we haven't had in a while. I mean, even in November, it was cold. Gun week for December, super cold. Special gun cold. Muzzle loader cold. Like, everything that we did out there was incredibly cold along the way. But we also, between us, the number and quality of bucks that we saw this year, like nothing we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I won't dork out on the stories, but if you want to tell them about opening morning a gun, that was frustrating for me, but hilarious kind of for you and Josh.
Yeah. So
With the man?
Yeah, opening morning of gun, December 2nd, exactly. So I'm out. I've already taken my buck a month earlier. I'm looking for ladies to shoot does, and Jake's brother Josh is in the same situation. He can't shoot a buck because you can only take one in Ohio.
Right. I'm the only one left with a buck tag at this point.
Yeah, and so I hadn't taken one yet, and I hadn't seen a whole lot in the morning, and then we text occasionally or send pictures if there's activity going on, and the next thing we know, we see. I don't know if I saw it or Josh said there's the man. There's one of the bucks, we call him the man because he's the fucking man.
He's huge.
Yeah, and he's just got it's a 9?
Yeah, he's a mainframe 8 that's got a strong 9th point on him, but like thick, wide,
just
heavy, tall,
beautiful,
all of it.
Beautiful buck walking around, and he was trailing this really young doe. And when I saw him, he was basically in between Josh and I, which is a little over 100 yards apart. And I don't know. This might have been after he was shot at. I don't remember, but he came running over towards us and was in between us. And then they ran down to this field. Now this is a neighbor's field, and Josh, we talked later, and we're both like screaming the same thing in our minds, like, "Don't fucking go out there! You're gonna get fucking killed!"
Yeah,
because we wanted him to come back around so Jake could take him. Didn't end up happening, but it was the pun or the ironicism of the story is that he was right in between the two guys that couldn't shoot him, and then later he literally walked like right underneath Josh. Josh has this amazing video.
Oh yeah, within a few yards of him.
I mean, it
Could have killed him with a rock.
Oh my goodness! And the video is just immaculate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Like we've got him, and there's another huge deer that
There's a
I
few.
finally saw him on the hoof in muzzleloader, and like just to see him out there, it's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna do a bunch more workout this year and keep getting that place tuned in. But
Yeah. So as far as I am concerned with hunting, I have more of a I'm not expecting to kill something bigger or whatever, but just the whole process has just changed for me.
Yeah.
It's been from when I even prior to taking a deer, it was always exciting for me to get up. I'm always that kind of early morning. not that I like to get up early, but when I do for a situation like this, it's just always a blast. It's almost like a Christmas morning type thing. You just, sometimes it's hard for me to sleep, but getting out and going and doing everything. And then, of course, like everything else, it's over before it's begun. But
Right.
It's always a blast. But now that I've actually harvested a deer, it's changed everything for me. I want to get better. I want to, target practice more, just make sure I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, and that also makes if you do get an opportunity to take an animal, you take them swiftly and quickly, hopefully, and not a lot of suffering involved.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot for me. I'm amped up. I wish it was September already.
Yeah.
But
one of the things that I love about it though, and me and Josh have talked about this to where we kind of had the same experience, is that a lot of times we do things in life where the goal is to get something accomplished, right? And it's like, oh, I wanted to get this one thing done, and then you get it done, and that's it, right? And then it's like time to move on to something else. We were the same way. Like after we had success out there for the first time, it's like, all right, I love this. I'm gonna keep on doing this now. This is fun.
yeah.
And it's an enjoyable thing. And you get more out of it than just the kill. I mean, I spent a lot of hours on a tree stand to take one deer this year.
It's way more than that. Even for me, even for the most part. I mean, I guess I'm pulling out of my beginner and novice hunter. I mean, I have sat in the woods for quite a few years now.
4 years, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like I'm a complete noob. It's just the harvesting that I'm newer to. But no, the whole. I mean, I can sit there, and it's basically like you're looking at the same scenery for all fucking day. You're gonna turn your head occasionally because you hear some things, but it does not get old, and it's amazing how. I mean, for the most part, it doesn't lag on. The mornings move. The mornings move.
Yes.
The afternoons even move. I mean, occasionally from like 3 to 5, it's a little slow, but
Yep.
excuse me, but.
Excuse.
For the most part, it does not lag on,
No.
and it's
Not like it used to. When I was younger, like there were times in the afternoon it was like, oh my God.
right.
Like I just want this to be over. The time you spend out there sitting and thinking and just kind of being away from things, I feel like we're
that's
at
the
that
best
age.
part, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be able to recalibrate a little
Oh,
bit.
it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying being alone is the best part, and that is kind of funny. We hang out to go hunting, but we don't hang out. We're in our own worlds. We have our own strategies going on. We're FUing the squirrels because it sounds like a deer's coming.
Sure.
All that shit. But so yeah, it's the buildup of the hunt that's probably the best part.
Yeah. Well, but like doing the work is fun. Like making sure that your stuff's shot in and that you're feeling accurate and confident, and making sure that you have all the right equipment and the right tools, because like it's kind of desolate out there. You got to be prepared for if some things go a little bit sideways at some point, which can happen in the woods, that you're ready to rock and roll with it, So it's been great. Super proud of you. Like you've come a long way over the last couple of years. Like the monkey's firmly off your back. You went from no deer to tagging out in 1 year, which there's some guys that never tag out. So can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see where these conversations are at next year.
I tell you what, I will tell you one statistic that because I've been bookworming some of this stuff. Well, a lot of it's just stuff that you know how it is when you start doing something, talking about something, you get all the fucking notifications in the world about it. Mm-hmm. But one of the ones that came through was like 400 and some thousand deer tags were purchased in Ohio. There was only, but 200 and some mid 250s or 240 taken.
Yeah,
so that's a lot of fucking tags that were not filled.
that's right.
So I do feel fortunate.
Well, there's a lot of guys that don't go after like we do. Like they don't put the continual time in. There's guys that, hey, I hunt this weekend for bow every year, and I hunt these couple days of gun, and that's all that they get to go out.
That's true.
And we are fortunate. I think that we've built wonderful relationships with the women in our lives to where they have a pretty good understanding that there's times that we want to be out there, and this is an accomplishment that we want to get.
Yeah.
Just about every year to where it's been good.
That's why I wanted to get the meat process so I can share the wealth at home.
Well, but okay, to explain that. So the reason that we didn't just take the deer in immediately is because once you get to November, there's a lot of deer that are being harvested, right?
This is a strategy.
Yeah, I would recommend that anybody that goes hunting that has been through this process, I'm not throwing stones at any particular company that does deer processing and makes sticks and jerky and whatever else you want to have made out of it. What I will tell you is that from experience dealing with a lot of different companies that process deer is a lot of them will do pound weight to where whatever you bring in, you probably aren't going to get your exact deer back. To where, for me, I know, like you've heard us talk about it before on the show, Josh is the one who does 95% of our gutting. I was able to do my own this year, and I nailed the shit out of it, so it made me feel good I still got the skill set. But when you take the time that we do to make sure that everything is clean, like the meat is well taken care of before it ever gets to a processor, you want your own meat back.
Well, not only that is, I mean, we're also feeding these deer, you know, with the land and the property. I mean, this, you want to eat what you're shooting.
Right. So what we do now strategically is we wait about a month after the season is over to give them time to basically get everything cleaned up and done so that when we take it in, the stuff that they're processing is just our stuff. So we know that we'll actually get our stuff back.
Yeah.
Can't wait. That's going to be fun to do. We're taking it in, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
I think?
a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Can't fargan wait.
It's going to be fun.
All right.
Next.
Moving on. Just real quick. This is just a quick hitter. OH. IO! Buckeyes Championship. Now, Jake would show me every single banner and every single...
I can't believe you didn't bring one, if we're being honest.
I forgot my hat. I have a championship hat. I fucking forgot it. And I do have a pennant. I'll post pictures. I'll get on fucking Facebook and post them. Anyways, what a fucking game. What a fucking crazy season. Buckeyes can't get past Michigan. Fucking one of the worst games. They call it an instant classic. Yeah, if you're a Michigan fan, it's an instant classic. What was the game? 10-13?
Whatever.
Horrible. But they looked fucking amazing after that, and I guess they never looked back. But the championship game ended up being way closer.
A little more fun than people thought it was going to be.
It was a blowout early, and then Notre Dame came back. Jake's a big Notre Dame fan, and we were having a good time with that. And it really did get a little closer than a lot of people would like.
They had it within a score.
Yeah. And I think they were going for 2 at one point. I'm like, why are you doing this? You should just fucking keep getting 7. But anyways, Buckeyes championship. And I know for a fact that the Buckeyes are kind of like the Yankees of
They're one of them.
College football. But I get it because they're always around, but I don't get it because they don't win. I mean, this is like every 11, 10 years they're winning championships.
What people get annoyed with about Ohio State is that you are one of the Yankees teams. Georgia, Alabama, Texas.
You're right.
Florida they're probably falling off a little bit now.
Florida and Florida State were for years.
Clemson they've fallen off a little bit now. You know, USC they've fallen off to where like there's a little bit that moves through, but like there's a core group of teams that are like this all the time, year in, year out, to where you are one of the Yankees teams, but you act like you're one of the Mets teams. Like, I laughed so hard at the whole...
What is one of the Mets teams?
Because they're the Mets are the downtrodden next-door neighbors of the Yankees. They're never going to be the Yankees. They have 1 championship? 2.
Okay, I'm not care about the actual Mets.
But what I'm saying is, like, that's how you guys... Like, after the Michigan loss, Ohio State against the world. No, you lost a football game. You still have the most talented team in the entire country. The fact that you lost that game is your fault. It's not you against the world. Like, it's not like the entire world is against Ohio State. You know who is against Ohio State? Ohio State fans are against your coach, no matter who it is, the minute that they falter. Yeah, he's got the 3rd or 4th highest winning percentage of all time. And if he doesn't win that game, there's people calling for his head. It's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. So you either have to say, so one of 2 things has to be true. Oh, I've been waiting on this since I saw this on here.
Good.
One of these 2 things have to be true.
Okay.
Either you are unreasonably unfair to your head coach, right? And if you are, no, hold on,
win a big game since Urban Meyer's team.
Hold on. If you are reasonably fair to your coach, then the expectation is for him to win every game, and that can only be because you have easily the most talented team in the country year in, year out. So you can't be the Yankees if you have the best team. I mean, you can't be not the Yankees if you have the best team on paper year in, year out.
You're totally missing all this.
Would you rather win the national championship or beat Michigan?
Both.
No. I didn't ask you I asked you an or
Okay,
question.
Michigan.
Fuck that. That's the dude. That is the most trailer park answer of
No,
all
it's
time.
not.
As a Browns fan, if your options every year are to sweep Pittsburgh,
Don't you know what people have been saying
lose
for
twice to
years?
Pittsburgh and win the Super
People
Bowl,
have been saying
you
for
take the
years.
Super Bowl every single time.
Browns can go 0-16 every year as long as, or 2-16 or 2. What would be 2
That's because there was never a championship actual aspiration there. If your options are lose to Pittsburgh twice or win the Super Bowl, you're taking the Super Bowl. Fuck those 2 wins against Pittsburgh. Who gives a shit about the loss to Michigan? All they care about at the end of the year is who raised that trophy.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You take the championship. Any Ohio State fan that says that they'd rather it be Michigan, dude, I'm sorry. That's your trailer park Ohio State fan.
Well, first of all, you're way out left field as fucking usual.
Tell me.
Because prior to this year, you couldn't lose to Michigan and go for a championship. So how can you
Why?
do both? You couldn't lose 2 games or maybe 1 game. Not end of the year.
What do you mean?
Up until prior to the playoffs, you couldn't lose any games and go. So if you lose to Michigan, you don't even have a chance to go to the playoffs or win a championship.
That's not true. Stroud lost to him and almost won a national championship. If your kicker was worth the shit, you guys win the national championship that year.
Right. That's a 1 loss.
But that loss was Michigan. You lost to Michigan, and then you get in to play Georgia. Michigan kicks the shit out of TCU, and then who'd Michigan beat? Sorry,
Michigan.
who that was the Georgia game, right?
Yes.
And TCU beat them. That's the year. You lost to Michigan. TCU beats Michigan. You have Georgia beat, and then you missed the kick, or you
Right.
would have got to play TCU for a national championship.
Right.
So you can lose to Michigan and still get in the old 4-team format.
Okay. So now moving forward, whatever, win a championship. And I'm going to tell you what. For those who really truly hate the Buckeyes, they're going to be a problem for a long time. They've got huge payrolls. They're going to be able to pay all these fucking kids every fucking year. And so what I'm saying is they got in. They're doing good at the right time because the Clemsons, the teams that were good for a long time, if they were good right now, sometimes it's a timing thing. And the fact that they can pay their players, I just don't know. I think the Buckeyes are going to be playing for a title probably almost every year for quite a while.
You're going to keep being in it. I'll tell you that. I mean, you're going to have teams like, Penn State, their quarterback and their running back came back. Like, that team is going to be a problem next year. They're going to be good. Like, There's always going to be, like, 2-loss Ohio State's getting in almost every year.
Oh,
and it's because
100%.
and it's going to be because you have it's hilarious when you look at the number of like quarterbacks that have left Ohio State because they couldn't become your starter. Joe Burrow, Quinn Ewers, like guys that are like legit.
Isn't that funny? I know you liked Fields, but that was not right.
What was it?
I mean, it's look at Joe Burrows in the NFL versus Fields.
I would have loved to. I'll go this far. That team got fucked against Clemson. Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm not saying that they beat that LSU team, but I sure would have liked to have seen that Ohio State team play that LSU team.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you what, Joe Burrow was the best college football quarterback that year.
Yeah.
There's no 2 questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
The second best college football quarterback that year, unquestionably, was Justin Fields.
Yeah, I agree.
Filthy Justin Fields. I would have loved to have seen those 2 teams get to match up.
It would have been great.
It would have been. So I'm not taking nothing against away from Joe Burrow.
I don't like Joe Burrow anyway. I mean,
Oh, come on. He's an Ohio guy. An Ohio team.
listen, he's great. He just plays for the wrong team.
That's fine. I'm just saying, I applaud your Buckeyes for winning that championship. They beat a team that they hugely outgunned. The difference was that you could overcome injuries with talent. Notre Dame couldn't. I mean, they had 4 guys that didn't play in that game that were huge impact type guys.
I can't.
Am I saying that it would have made the difference? That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I applaud Ohio State for the way that they came out in that game, even when things got tight. That play call at the end, put him out there on an island, let Smith run free against one of the worst DBs in college
Can't wait
football.
to watch that kid. Come on, you got to be excited to watch that kid next couple of years.
But I love it. But this is Ohio State. You just had the best wide receiver prospect in the history of college football get drafted last year at the top of the draft. I mean, they're talking Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, and Marvin Harrison Jr. 12 months later, you got a guy that everybody is already conceding is going to be a better player than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, it's just because he got a better start.
Is that why you don't think it's a better toolbox?
Well, altogether. I'm just saying
He's not even developed into a full-grown man yet. This guy is going to be terrifying.
What I'm saying is his just freshman year was better than Marvin Harrison. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying, like, you guys churn out NFL players like it's your job on a level that few teams will ever match.
I will tell you this: the Browns just need to start fucking drafting a few Buckeyes. I mean, I
drafted one last year, Hall.
Yeah, and we do have Ward, but I mean, it seems like year after year after year, the Steelers, who are who face it, we're trying to emulate them as much as possible. They're drafting Ohio State Buckeyes. Not that you have to only,
but they've definitely drafted more than a handful
for sure. And it's like, why wouldn't you? I mean, I understand it. It's geographical too. You don't want your players too far away from home.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yes. So but congratulations on your championship.
Thank you.
I congratulated all my friends and family. We for the annual poker game. I actually got a national championship T-shirt that went to the winner.
Did he ever get it?
Yeah, I gave it to him. So it's like I'm an equal opportunity sports fan. You know what I mean?
Matt Baker won the fucking poker night, and he don't give two shits about sports.
That was awesome. It was fun.
Maybe he'll wear it.
Yeah. So we'll see. Next championship's up. We'll see. Well, I don't know if we're getting any for a while, but we'll find out. You're gonna have the Cavs are gonna fight for it. Hopefully your Indians do.
We'll see. Last thing. This was on the docket for quite some time. This kind of lost its luster a little bit, but I do have some questions though.
Okay.
I'm a little confused about some recent developments. But so we're going down MAGA road here, making America great again. Hooah!
Yeah.
So I have wrote down, I know this has been a little while, but why she lost and what's going on. I wrote down the economy, border crisis, 2 assassination attempts that they didn't deny. That was just my starters. You want to take it from there?
Well, I don't know what your questions are. What you want to you want to talk about with it?
Well,
it's been a wild ride. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
from all the indictments and all the shit that went on with that to where we're at now, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, and what about Biden pardoning his family while he was getting sworn in?
It's a weird thing. Like to see preemptive pardons like that with so many people. It's a unique situation. I don't know. Trump didn't do it when he left office, so you got to believe that there was a reason that.
Well, he thought they were coming for him. Obviously.
I agree. So I don't know.
How can you do preemptive pardons?
It's a weird thing. Apparently it is. It's a weird thing. I don't know. I didn't know before this political cycle that it was.
Maybe it was put into action.
Right.
I don't know. What I wanted to say here was I think more people voted for her, are more upset that we didn't get our first woman president versus what Trump winning and what he will do for the country. Big picture, I think it would have broken the country. I
mean, I think that you go through times where certain things are needed in a country, right? There have been times that we needed to correct some things socially that were going over here, right? To where I believe that there have been times in the country that having a Democrat in the White House was the right way to go.
Sure.
Like there have been discriminatory laws and stuff like that that have basically been exonerated from the books. You know what I mean? To where, you can't whitewash the past and you can't run away from it, but you can change what you're doing now, right? To where I believe that there have been times that has been the right move. But in a situation like where we're at now, for the overall direction of where a lot of this was headed, I think that some conservatism being brought back has been definitely the way to go. I think that we're going to start removing a lot of the fat that we have in there. We're going to start putting some safeguards in place for the American people. And I have no doubt that there's going to come a time in our lifetime where where it makes sense to put some Democrats back in. I think that they're going through kind of, I'm not going to say an identity crisis, but I think that they're having to kind of step back and take a look at the way that they handle things and maybe what some of their priorities at the top are. I think it's an interesting time. It's all hypocrisy. like when you look at a lot of the way that all of this goes, though, like one side will say this or do that, and like, oh, it's the worst thing that the other group did, and then they turn around 4 years later and do some things that are similar. To where I don't think this is going to be a perfect presidency. I don't think that there's such thing. The one thing I'll say is we are 31 days in, I think now. Is that what? Not even that. What's today's date? Today's the 19th. Today the 19th.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're like 30 days in, right? This has been a presidency of action so far.
Right.
And I hope that, for better or for worse, win, lose, or draw, that it's something that continues going forward.
So I want to just interrupt you right there. I agree. A lot of action's been going on.
Yeah.
Why are prices going up right now?
On exactly what?
Like the shit that everybody was pissed about before. Eggs, grocery stuff.
Well, okay, so there's more than one way to look at this. First thing I'll say is it's been 30 days.
I know.
If you think you're going to fix inflation
No.
in 30 days, it's not rational. But like eggs,
no.
eggs are a fucking disaster worldwide because of bird flu and because there was 3 major producers that burnt to the ground over the last couple of years, to where like the amount of eggs that are actually readily available are down. Now, anybody that doesn't think that this is a supply and demand thing, let me ask you this. How many of you have gone to multiple grocery stores in the last week and not been able to find a case of eggs? Not very many.
Right.
They're still there.
Yeah.
There's not eggs on the shelf.
Right.
But it's become a premium item, right? To where it will get right-sized at some point.
And I understand. It's only been a little bit, and I don't expect...
There was a time that you were paying $20 for toilet paper.
I don't expect it to be like magic.
Yeah.
But I guess I just didn't expect it to go the other way. It just didn't make any sense. Like, why? Because like all of a sudden, when I watched, basically pay attention to a couple things. Obviously, the first one is when I'm driving by the gas station every day. Yeah. And then, when I go to the grocery store once a week or whatever it is.
Yep.
I look for a few things. I don't look at everything.
Yeah.
So when I walk by the eggs, I look at the price. When I go past the gas station, I look at the price. So things seem like they were dropping a little bit, and then they seems like they went back up a little bit. I know it's going to happen anyway, and I know things aren't going to be like boom fixed.
Correct.
But he seems like he freaking controls. I don't know. It seems like he has a pretty good pulse and is able to control some things at some times. I don't know. That obviously there's more pressing issues like our border and things like that.
Agreed. And there's going to be things that take time to come back. Yeah. Like our oil independence. Yeah. The amount of oil that we're exporting that we shouldn't be, the amount of oil that we're pulling out of the ground here that we stopped doing 4 years ago. Like there are things like that. Like
that will take time.
It's not like you just flick a lever and it's back on. Like these programs have to be restarted. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole thing, and people are going to be weary at first too, because okay, it takes a year or 2 years to get these programs off the ground. We've got 2 years of this program, and then what happens? You know what I mean? If the election goes the wrong way, all of this gets shut down again. To where that's just the reality of it.
There's no progress.
Right. But I will tell you right now,
about for the country, there's like zero progress.
Right. But if anybody that doesn't understand the impact that gas prices have on everything else, I don't know how you think it gets onto the storefront where you go buy it. It's still, gas is the biggest driver of all of that stuff.
Primarily diesel fuel.
Right. Right.
So if you want to see, I've been preaching diesel fuel for a while.
Yeah.
It's like if you want your prices to drop on a lot of things over a long period of time, you got to get those diesel prices down.
Yeah. Now, some people aren't going to like this because it's going to feel like it's infringing on what their lifestyle is. But I'm going to tell you what, you want to know the fastest way for people to really start saving some money is to don't fucking use DoorDash ever. Quit going out to eat as fucking often. Because what has happened in those sectors is everybody that works in those sectors, those jobs were never meant to be full-time, live a life off of these things type of jobs. That's just not what those...
You mean like a waitress?
You were never supposed to work at McDonald's full-time and run a household of 4. Those are entry-level into the market jobs, unless you're the GM of that building.
Or the manager.
That is not what those jobs are built for. So what have we done? We've priced those jobs now in a way where the cost goes up. That is a direct to consumer back cost, right? So, but then what else do we get as a result? You walk into McDonald's now and you got 8 kiosks and one person at a register.
If you're lucky.
Right.
And I don't even ever go into a McDonald's. It's like once or twice every
Right.
3 months.
Right.
Like to actually go in. I mean, I'm not saying I don't ever drive through and get
Try
pick
it
up a
sometime.
sandwich. No,
We had to do it on a trip that we took south.
dude, it is
last
like
year.
alien walking into a McDonald's.
It's weird, dude.
I walked in there then this is like 6 months ago. I walked into the McDonald's and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I forgot it was like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why can't you just take my fucking order and punch it in on a screen? No, I gotta go. This is. We're still healing from COVID and shit like this, and now you gotta go touch the screen, like with my knuckle.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put my fingertip on it. It's just stupid.
But think about going out to eat. You take a family of 4 out to eat. There's no $10 meal deals anymore. You're paying $15, $17 a person, right? That's $60 to $70 before you even have a drink in front of you, tax, a tip, anything. It's $100 every single time now.
Minimum.
Right. I mean, you want to talk about blowing money, like it's those kind of things that are just siphoning it out. And all of these companies are owned by giant companies. They're franchisees that have a nut to make. That's why they keep putting, like, dude, like there's reports that are out on Chipotle. I won't eat Chipotle anymore.
Why?
Raise their prices 70%.
Yeah, that's expensive.
And all that they did, nothing has changed. There's not better ingredients. They don't have a supply issue that they had to fortify by having to go to some special beef, or there's not a massive national cheese shortage that's happened to all this. No, none of that stuff's happened. You know what they did? They gave their CEO a $22 million bonus last year. The amount of money that they're spreading around in high-level bonuses, and that's where the greed comes in. It kind of takes you back to the old adage, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
And it's like, I won't eat there no more.
Well, and a lot of people won't. I mean, you might be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go down to Chipotle, and you're like, Jesus Christ, $30 for one fucking bowl.
Right.
You're gonna be like, well, I'm never doing that again, and then you won't.
Right.
So they're gonna lose a lot of business because their price is so high.
Yep.
I mean, me and the wife we get Chipotle like, I don't know, it's very rare, but we like it.
It's
But
good.
I'm not gonna get it at those prices though.
Right. It disappoints me because it's something that I can eat gluten-free very, very easily and really enjoy my meal. And those days are gone.
It does suck because you buy two. I'm wondering, they're like $17 a fucking bowl now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or more.
It depends on where you go and exactly what you get.
I
But
can remember when it was
if you get anything added to it, I mean, guac's like $4.
Yeah, I can remember
What?
when Chipotle was like $7-8 a bowl,
Right.
and it was like, wow, this is halfway affordable,
Right.
And we can both eat for $20. Woohoo!
That's crazy.
Now it's $30 minimum for
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. But I love our vice president. I think he's out doing a good job. Like he putting some of the onus back on Europe to start carrying their own fair share. Here's something that'll make you sick. All of that money that we gave Ukraine, $200 billion, none of it was under like reciprocation, right? To where like they don't have to make any of it right. They don't have to give us any of that back. Every dollar that the European nations gave them, which is about another 50 billion, 100% back, 100% reciprocity. What? Like this is the type of shit where people be like, how can you vote for the orange convict? This is what happened in the last administration. They gave away $200 billion in U.S. money without getting anything back for it at all. Nothing.
Jesus Christ.
Right. And then like people are freaking out about Doge. Like it's the funniest thing in the world. You got a guy that's one of the richest men on earth.
And smartest.
Right. Elon. Right. That like, you don't like what he's digging into? Fine. Don't like it. If you think that programs are getting cut that you don't think should be cut, you're more than welcome to voice your opinion. But to be like, oh, we didn't vote for Elon. You know who else we didn't vote for? That fucked our economy right in the ass? Is Fauci. Mm-hmm. Nobody voted for that cat. But then he got a preemptive pardon after he fucked this country in its ass. Right?
Yep.
So I don't want to hear it. We voted for Trump, and this is called a political appointee. Right? Now, another thing most people don't realize, that department wasn't called Doge. It was what, ASAD, started by Obama. He changed the name and changed the focus. So you have a billionaire who could just be out doing billionaire things, making billionaire dollars, that's doing no salary work, brought a team in of basically, they're not accountants. And that's one of the best parts to me, because accountants are going to be like, yes, that balances. Yes, that balances. These guys are digging in to see where this shit actually goes.
Right.
Who's getting it? Where's this money actually flowing to? I have no problem with that.
So is that what? So I don't even know what.
It's the Department of Government Efficiency.
Okay. So yeah, right. So I did know that. So he's just heading a group of people figuring out where shit's going and who's paying for what.
The crazy shit that money's being dumped into, like, dude, if you started seeing some of these lists, you would puke in your mouth a little bit.
I bet I wouldn't.
$252 million, sorry, $25.2 million for animal sex changes so that they can basically observe the behavior to see what happens.
I remember
when you do this to animals.
We were talking about this on poker night. Yeah.
$2 million for circumcisions in, is it Botswana? Like, what? Like millions of dollars going to all kinds of crazy shit all over the place. And it's like, this is one of those things that I think most people in America know that their money's been being wasted.
Yeah.
Right? So the threat that, all these people are losing security. Grandma and grandpa ain't losing their Social Security checks. First thing they said when they came out. Like, we're not coming in here. But now what they're going to go through Social Security, and we're going to make sure, that people are alive and, that they ever were alive, and make sure that money's not going to people where it shouldn't be going, because you're cashing your grandma's checks that's died in 94.
Why would you ever lose Social Security if all of a sudden we're figuring out, hey, we got more money than we thought because we're not putting it in places we shouldn't be?
This is what I'm saying. And these are the things, like, to me, this is where I get frustrated with it, because, like, this should not be a political issue. There is not a Republican ideology that's fueling this. This is the American taxpayers' money. Where the fuck is it actually going, and how much of it is waste?
I'd have a great question. Why is this the first time this has ever happened?
And that's another thing that nobody can answer. There's only one group of people that are throwing a fit about this, and it's Democrats. And it's constant. It's constant. And it's like, this is what I keep asking. It's like, I don't disagree with everything that the Democratic platform has to say. I just don't. There are parts of it that I disagree with, but I don't disagree with all of it. But this is the type of thing, it's like, how can everybody not get behind this? Right? Like,
I'll tell you why, because it's got a weird name. Just call it, hey, we're figuring out where the money goes action, and people will be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
But I don't care if they call it the fucking Asswipe Center. Like, those are the types of things. Like, I don't want to have a feeling about the name.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. It's the action that we all need to be worried about, right? Like, that's where the focus should be. Where does that money going to go back to?
That department is just like this podcast. It's fucking common sense. You need to know where your shit's going. It's like those commercials where you pull up people that just get a bunch of subscriptions and they don't pay attention, and the next thing you know, you're paying $300-400 a month in subscriptions because you obviously have way too much money that you're not even paying attention. But then they have these apps that are like, oh, cancel. Oh, I didn't know how I had all those.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing. You're figuring out where all your money's going.
Right. And the funniest part to me, I saw a meme the other day. I couldn't help but laugh. It said, you own a store. Somebody robbed your store. Elon Musk figures out who robbed your store. Now they want to arrest Elon.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so true. And like, everybody's like, oh, he's got access to all this taxpayers' information. Does nobody remember that this guy owned PayPal? He had access to millions and millions of people's information. Do you think he wants to take money from regular people?
No, the question is, needs to.
Do you think he gives a shit? I don't think that he does. If he did, I don't think he ever takes this position.
He's on board because he wants to be a part of one of the greatest movements of all time.
It does. I get so frustrated with it. It's like, dear the Maxine Waters of the world, and like Pocahontas getting up there and just going off about this. It's like, this was money that was approved by Congress. And it was like, but maybe it shouldn't have been. Maybe that's what you're really mad about, is that we're uncovering all the shit that you passed in bills for the last 30 years. Why did you pass $2 billion for circumcisions in Botswana? That's fucking crazy.
Stupid.
Like, why don't you feel like you have to answer to the American people for that?
Why are we spending money on sex changes for animals?
Right.
I don't think those animals wanted to be sex changed.
I'm telling you. So this is the type of thing that they're going after, and it's like, I can't believe that this is what we have to fight about at this point. You know,
I'm going to tell you what they want. It's stupid. It's almost like they have a ledger of, all right, we need to spend $300 billion on some shit. What can we do it on?
But we're operating at such a deficit. Like, at some point, let's not have the deficit.
What do you think about the tariffs? I think the tariffs are fucking incredible. Do you think they're bad? Good?
I think that. So here's the thing: most people don't understand tariffs at all.
I get it.
Most people have, like, they think, oh, if you put a 10% tariff on China, that means I'm going to have to pay 10% more of it. No. When you think about it this way, if you put 10% on, right, you cannot be imposed to pay that 10% until you buy that product. Stop buying products from China. They're a terrible trade partner. Do you know what the deficit is on our trade with China? Any guess? 450 billion to 45 billion. It's a 10x. So that's why everybody freaks out right now, because us putting 10% on them, that's 45 billion. Them putting 10% on us, that's 4.5. It's crazy. And it's like, quit importing junk over here that the American people have to buy.
Right.
Like, and I'm sorry, like when you look at the amount of subsidies and the shit, like the bullshit with Mexico, letting all of these people in, not fortifying their own border. I mean, like, how does anybody even take Mexico seriously as a country at this point? You just let people run through your country to get up here all the time. And half of your country is ran by cartels.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, they don't care.
Right.
The cartels, you think the cartels care?
Right.
They just want their money.
Right. But the minute that we stop it and we're like, hey, if you don't get your shit together and quit letting these people come through here, we're going to tax you. Like, I don't understand how that's such a bad deal. Like, there should be a cost of business with dumping shit into our giant economy.
Yeah.
Like, why shouldn't there be? Like, that's where I don't have a problem with tariffs at all, especially when they're used as a political maneuver to get people to do the shit they should have been doing in the first place.
Well, it sounds like back in the day, we were making so much money with tariffs that we didn't even need income tax.
We were.
Shit wasn't even taxed.
Right.
Why wouldn't we want to be in that? As an American people, why wouldn't we want to live in a country where we were taxed less?
Right.
Buying better products that lasted longer. And that's another thing we need to fucking bring up. I need to put that on the topic docket for next time.
Okay. You roll with it.
Yeah.
So.
About why shit doesn't, they make shit to break.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like other shit that's going on, like since like with the president shit, like they have been the border crossings lower than they've been literally since like before the Obama administration. This is lower. They're lower now than at any point during Trump's
You mean
first
right
administration.
now?
Right now, as we sit here, like minuscule in comparison. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're gonna go after women and children," and no, they're going after criminals that shouldn't have been here. Here's the reality of the situation: we're gonna spend a ton of money on this trying to eradicate this problem. That's just a reality. At the end of the day, there's probably gonna be 8 to 10 million people that never have to leave. That probably should have to, based on our laws. And you know what? I don't think all of us are going to be in the street rioting as a result of it. What we don't want is actual murderers and thieves to be here. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the problem that we have with all of this. It's not like you're vetting these people and letting them all in over this ridiculous time period. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So people like, oh, everything is a woe is me. Everything is such a victimhood mentality on everything. And it's like, you're not a victim. When you make a shit bed by taking a dump in it yourself and then you got to sleep in it, you can't be mad at me.
Yeah.
Like, you did that. You're making us clean it up. That, I don't know. Like, this is where I'm just at with
It's
all of
common
this right
sense,
now.
though.
It shouldn't be this hard. Like, but you know, like one of my favorite people in all this, which is hilarious because 2 years ago I would have never thought this, is do you know who John Fetterman is?
Sounds familiar.
He's a big fella. He's a senator from Pennsylvania, right? Democrat, all the way. Dude, this guy is as common sense as the day is long.
Love it.
Like to listen to him talk. Again, we don't have to agree on everything politically, but he's like, we're getting rid of the criminals. He's like, nobody showed me a picture yet of anybody's of 5 kids and a mom that are being driven back to the border and dropped off. Like, that's not happening.
But if they're here illegally and didn't go through the right vetting and the right processes, that's not my fault.
I'm not arguing with you on that, and I agree with you.
I don't want women and children deported just because of just to do it, but I do want people to have to go through the right fucking process.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'm saying is, I agree on that part, but that's not where the primary focus is right now.
They want to clean up the
problem.
streets. Yeah.
Like, let's get rid of the problems first.
Well, that's where you start. Get rid of the problems. Get rid of as much as you can. 85 to 95% of those people, if not more.
Yes.
And then, still not easy to do, but then let's start figuring this whole process out. And all right, we need to line the rest of you up and figure out who really shouldn't be here. I mean,
I think that there should be a date at some point. Regular immigration gets shut off until this gets filtered through. Like, look, This is the system that you guys created. We can't just keep letting 1 million people in every year from all over the world when we've got a whole mess here that's got to be dealt with.
I mean, I agree.
So
let's shut it down.
Right. I'm saying you put a date on it, and that's it. And from then on, your dream isn't to come up to America. You might get blocked from coming for 20 years if that's how long it takes to fix this. But if we don't ever fix it, it's going to end up becoming the unraveling. That's just the reality of the situation.
I mean, coming to America, even in the 1800s, you can't just, you got off the boat and then you had to go through a big process before you
register. Yes.
I mean, it wasn't just like.
And I applaud every person that did it. I mean, the balls that it has to take to get onto a boat and go to a place that you don't know a person or speak a language, but because that's the land of opportunity, that is the American spirit.
Yeah.
But doing it like this doesn't work. It just leaves too many holes in the pan. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm glad that they're viciously attacking this part of this whole thing. So It's been a crazy 30 days. The first 100 days is going to be insane. I can't wait to see how it ends up.
Well, maybe we'll be back on air after the 60 days.
Well, hopefully it doesn't take that long. I really enjoyed tonight. It's been so good getting to throw this down again. We got to get back on schedule with it a little bit.
It is once a month.
Yeah.
30 days. We'll see you then.
All right. Hey,
I almost stopped recording.
Yeah, don't do that.
Such a noob.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Maybe you agreed, disagreed. Maybe you think we're dipshits.
Don't matter
Probably
either
not.
way. It don't matter.
It was
either way.
awesome. Yeah. So, but I will tell you that if you're struggling with anything right now, one of the things that we will always advocate for on the show is mental health. If you're really struggling, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and ask for help. They've made it really easy. They've simplified the system. 988 is all you have to push on your phone. Hit send, and they will get you to a person quickly to help you with any crisis you're going through.
Absolutely. So you're having bad thoughts about hurting yourself or others, or just can't kick that substance abuse, give them a call.
That's right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon.
Boop, boop.
Cheerio.